RimWorld just recently got a new DLC. Naturally, I took this as a sign to ignore it completely. Yo, dudes and dudettes, this is Ketchu, and today we'll try to beat RimWorld for the first time, without DLC, without preparation, just raw, unfiltered pain. To kick this train wreck off right, I picked my old favorite, the Lost Tribe, because starting with 5 people and no pants is obviously the path to success. This might have been my first mistake. Randy Random became my storyteller, because he's the best, and because I've never even tried the others. Adventure story difficulty sounded friendly. It wasn't. Someday, I'd love to start in the desert or tundra, but not today. I am naked and afraid, so we went temperate. Like a true idiot, I completely ignored the team skills section, only making sure my unfortunate survivors didn't have any negative traits. My pawns were named after the brave souls watching the stream, which means any failures are, technically, their fault. We got Rusty, a bisexual optimist with a double passion for plants and arts, and a minor in social, perfect for running a pool club. Lianu, tough, hardworking, doesn't drink, majors in melee and construction, emotionally built like a fridge, socially calibrated like 1-2. Zilladin, shooting and construction main, with sidekicks in melee and medical, prefers tight spaces and tighter shot groupings. G-Bugs, another undergrounder, knows how to hammer things into place in more ways than one, minors in shooting, mining and plants. And G-Shan, quick sleeper and hard worker, survives on naps, majoring in shooting and melee with a minor in plants. Not a single one of them could cook. The real game was off to a delicious start.
The gods were very angry. The blood machines came at night.
Translation: welcome to RimWorld. You're screwed. We were born into a mostly flat mineral-rich area. It's always fun when the fertile grounds hug the edges of the map. At least we had decent starter animals. A dog, a cat and a horse. One for companionship, one for pest control, and one to carry our emotional baggage. I spent the next hour micromanaging everyone like a helicopter parent with a spreadsheet fetish. We set up a base by carving a warehouse into a mountain. A brilliant tactic, saving us one whole wall of effort. Call it efficient or lazy, you'd be right either way. I run a few quality of life mods, nothing wild. If you're curious, check the description. If it's not there, scream at me in the comments until it is. By nightfall, we had a fire, shelter, a field, and a colony full of optimism. Without knowing what I'm doing, I gave everyone an 8-hour workday and some bedtime TV. Even in the apocalypse, work-life balance matters. After the morning light had vanquished the horrible night, our preserved rations were already running out. Armed with whatever leftover weapons we had, we took down 2 weird cows and a raccoon. Nobody had to get hurt, and thanks to my incompetent leadership, someone did. We built a butchering table so we could extract the meat from the walk-in letterbags. Meanwhile, G-Box was busy sleeping away the pain of more than just existence. Our highest cooking stat was Chi-chan, clocking in at a powerful level 3. Qualifications? Not dead. Welcome to Hex Barbecue Pit. That night, a turkey wandered into camp to sleep by the fire. A bold move, and a delicious one. With food, fire and a 10-year grip on life secured, we started laying down walls. You know, for defense. Or at least for the illusion of safety. By morning, raiders arrived. We had nothing to offer them except our admiration, so we settled for awkward stares and silent judgment. We designated a pasture for our horse CJ, because she's practically family, and also our entire logistics department. After that, I found some silver in my pockets and made a snap decision. I bought 2 ducks. Why?
Do now, think later.
That's why. Lianu, Zilla and G-Bugs pulled overtime to build a duck pen. Watching Lianu lock a duck through the traps was a good glute workout. When Cheesan went out berry picking, I learned that my little pond in the corner was only good for decoration. I ordered that thing shut immediately. By now, the low food warning had evolved from an alert into a lifestyle.
A group from the Macom Covenant are visiting the colony. They seem to have few items to trade. Well, that's lovely. I have nothing.
Meanwhile, the animals were getting hungry. The ducks could eat kibble, so, naturally, right as I was about to start production, a flash storm hit. In a panic, I slaughtered all the ducks. Now they'll never be hungry again. A costly solution, but undeniably effective. Then I sent everyone out to fight the fire, because I value buildings over mental health. But when evening came, they got sleepy. So I sent them to bed and hoped the fire would get bored and leave.
Maybe if we ignore it, it'll go away.
While they snowed through the Asian apocalypse, I made some grand recreational plans. 2 hoopstone rings for competitive poop slinging and a game board. Finally, entertainment worthy of a society. Wouldn't you know it, the next morning rolled in with rain. And thanks to a mod, you just have to believe it rained. There's no visual effect, only vibes. We went hunting, which went about as well as expected. Zilla caught some friendly fire. G-Box got donkey kicked by an alpaca. They both walked it off like champions with no health care. After this glowing display of professionalism, Lianu suggested we pick a faction name. I christened the colony Ketchutopia. Then Lianu suggested something cool as our faction name. So now, we are officially Ketchutopia of something cool. The next morning, Zilla had fully healed, just in time for the rest of the colony to get food poisoning from our war crime of a kitchen. Frankly, I'm amazed it didn't happen sooner. When a solar flare hit us, we had no clue. Rusty harvested our first rice crop, while we started the construction of individual bedrooms. Because if everyone's going to starve, they might as well do it in private. The kitchen was still soaked in puke. Really made me feel like I was running a functional society. In a shocking turn of events, growing hay grass inside the pasture was probably a poor call. CJ the horse was starving. We opened the gate, she immediately sprinted out, face planted into the grass buffet, and passed out. Problem solved. On day 13 of spring, the kitchen still looked like the aftermath of a frat party with cholera. Time for innovation. We built small gates at the base entrance, declaring our entire colony into an indoor pasture. Basically, a reverse zoo. Bedrooms were finished. Sleeping spots were reimagined. We repurposed the old barracks into a new kitchen. Because if you cover a mess with new wallpaper, it's basically gone. Thinking ahead for once, we built prison cells near the front gates. For guests. We also slapped the science room against the mountain. Then Randy hit us with a psychic drone that tanked all the women's moods. Because this game believes in equal opportunity suffering. So we built an outdoor dining area, because if we were going to spiral, we're doing it with ambience. For reasons unknown even to me, I finally remembered we could mine steel. The missing link between us and a functional stove. Progress, baby! Flexing my foresight for the second time ever, I designated a lovely vacation spot just north of our base. A scenic bit of despair I named Corpse Lake, because water speeds decomposition. Like on cue. The first raid hit right after that, just one guy. Instead of using the front door like a civilized lunatic, this brainiac decided to headbutt through the wall next to our back door. Naturally, this display of peak intellect was punished swiftly, and so he earned the prestigious honor of being the first guest of Corpse Lake. May his bones bob gently in the soup of future visitors. That night, summer drop kicked us in the teeth. The game politely reminded me that winter exists. We'd had a research bench since yesterday. I'd just forgotten. So, with research tab finally open, I pointed at complex clothing like a good leader. Our rice fields were trying their best. Unfortunately, their best was barely toddler on espresso levels of reliability, so we added 3 new fields, for variety. Then we went alpaca hunting again. Not favoritism, just desperate measures with convenient targets. The next morning, a Vag tried to eat Lianu. That big dumb idiot had it backwards. We do the eating around here. His day wasn't getting better. Later that night, Lianu caught the flu. We weren't worried, but overcorrected by planting an entire field of medicinal herbs. You know, just in case. Days passed. Lianu stared the flu down with pure spite and he was winning. Meanwhile, the rest of us suffered minor hunting injuries. Everything was fine, which in RimWorld is deeply suspicious. Zilladin got struck by a sudden stroke of inspiration. We considered giving her an art bench, then reconsidered and asked for something practical. With our pile of assorted leather, Zilla created a legendary bedroll. I was a little disappointed that there was no artistic description for me to read. Lianu had a new vomit doormat. Looked like someone committed a drive-by in his bedroom. He got up not long after. Guess the smell was therapeutic. To avoid another friendly fire moment, the melee and range hunters split onto different animals. Didn't stop it from getting dicey anyway. Winter was still looming in the back of our heads. If things went south, we turned the nearby steam geyser into a sauna bedroom hybrid, which is either genius or a slow cooker death trap. We'd been eyeing a quest for a while. Promised Glitter World medicine could mean the difference between life and death. We prepped bedrolls, stocked food, packed pretty much everything in case we had to establish a new colony while the first burned. Everything was ready. Morale was high. Then Zilla collapsed mid-pack like a Victorian noble. Food poisoning. Guess we're not going anywhere.
It's only 500 worth of glitter medicine. It's less than the worth of your bed. We were only going for funsies anyway.
Sometimes things don't go the way we want. want. But even in our darkest hour, love finds a way to bloom, like broadleaf plantain.
G-Box tried to flirt with Ji-san by telling a tale about masculinity.
After what felt like an entire fiscal quarter, the hay grass finally grew in. We began building a barn to store it and the horse. We also finished researching complex clothing. Before winter, somehow, traders from insert faction name stopped by, we sold them our chems, then very subtly suggested they help us with the ancient danger. They agreed. And by agreed, I mean we stood behind them and yelled encouragements while they got eaten by the bugs. After the bloodbath, we looted the place, rescued the wounded, and the guns. Classic diplomacy. The science room became a temporary infirmary. 2 people were rescued from the cryopods. Alex, the teenage intern with no pants, and Lucero, a cryo fossil with combat credentials. One underpaid, one overqualified. Together, they balance out. The traders limped off into the sunset. Some didn't make it. We patched up their leftovers and the guns. Again, Alex officially joined us mid-mop-up. Nude, whiny and loud. A perfect hire. We also rescued the caravan's donkey. Not for loyalty, but for medical practice. On round 2 streaming this saga, I might have brain farted the chat on screen and my bot was running. So if you see something weird, ignore it. Or don't, I'm not your dad. Back in game, Alex was having a full body tantrum about nudity and pain and whatnot. So she dealt with it by aggressively insulting Lianu over and over. Lianu, known for his empathy and patience, knocked her unconscious and tucked her back in like a disappointed babysitter. We drafted plans for her bedroom, mostly to contain the yelling. Storage was also overflowing, so we expanded that too. Moments later, the ass goblins decided to raid us. They sent their village idiot. He hit a trap, panicked, and tried to run, but bullets caught up to him. While I fumbled the controls like a first-day intern, the Brain Council suggested I install the Allow Tool mod. I eventually complied. Turns out inventory management is also hard. We had a few corpses rotting in the storage room. Technically a biohazard, mostly just a vibe killer. Eventually, the last of the wounded traders recovered. They repaid us with some faction goodwill. Then Randy, sweet chaotic Randy, he sent us a pile of flake. Chems are his love language. And just when I thought things were stable, Alex, queen of public breakdowns, was suddenly hit with an inspiration to trade. No warning, no pants, just business. On the final night of summer, I had a breakthrough. We should make clothes. The colony had only been screaming for that for a week. Better late than frostbite. Lucero, who we graciously nursed back to health with our limited meds and even more limited patience, decided to say thanks by walking out the front door. Didn't even let me steal his pants first. A real missed opportunity. From the smoking wreckage of the Great Ancient Danger caravan fiasco, we salvaged a shooting skill trainer. Rusty ate it for dinner and gained 3 levels. Hides were needed for clothing, so we started hunting things more aggressively. Why not just mix letters together, you ask? Because our religion says no, I think. Something about fashion purity or cow gods. I don't know. The research for complex furniture was wrapped up. Next up, stone cutting. So our homes don't barbecue us come fire season. By this point, we were up to 4 guns. Things were looking pointy. Then a rabid mutant cow wandered onto the map and tried to eat us. I forgot to arm Alex, so she just stood there providing moral support. We took it down and hauled it for dinner. Rabies doesn't scare us. Hoping to make the cook's life easier, we extended our kitchen and added some shelves for ingredients. Progress smells like cooked mutant beef, which of course meant it was time for a disaster. On the 4th of September, Zilla and Shizan caught the plague. All we had was herbal medicine and misplaced optimism. And of course, Shizan was our cook, who now had the plague and food poisoning, a double whammy. While death hovered like a condescending fog, we had just about finished our meal storage, right next to the dining table, so we could mourn while we munch. Shizan and Ziladin fought valiantly. I had G-Bucks strip them in advance to preserve the clothes, because priorities. Despite our prayers and a vaguely threatening medical plan, 2 days later, both lost the battle. We buried them near Corpse Lake. There was a solemn moment of silence and a small ceremony.
Na 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 na.
And since we couldn't fire shots in the air, we shot a pumalope instead. This is now our official burial rite.
Now everybody fight fires, please.
An eclipse hit us like a bad omen. Sun was grieving, and the dog was wandering outside in sadness. 7 days into the fall, raiders stopped by, and we finally cast in Alex's trade inspiration, flipping chems and assorted carpets for over 400 silver. Not bad. Naturally, I celebrated our growing wealth with responsible governance. I drafted a chem use policy. Colonists may self-medicate, just not enough to get hooked. Then I ordered we start growing the stuff ourselves. I'm not sure if the caravan had a fight within themselves or something, but they shot up a dude suddenly. G-Box wasn't handling the loss of his lover well, so I fed him some ambrosia, medicinal of course. When I actually noticed the guy left behind the caravan, I was puzzled. Then we stole his food. After intense reflection, we installed a doormat in the kitchen, because hygiene matters. Wipe your feet or starve. Suddenly, the Busto people sent a sacrifice our way. I made the mistake of checking their stats, thinking maybe I'd recruit them. Nope, another deep, YouTube-friendly forever nap. Alex still wasn't armed, just cheerleading from the sidelines. While I wasn't paying attention, a donkey in our care got healed up and left on its own. Some random visitors gifted us high-quality medicine. Felt like a slap in the face. If that had arrived earlier, Zilla and Jason might still be alive. On the bright side, I remembered we could build actual beds. It's been a while. I also ordered some end tables and dressers. Maybe if the bedrooms look nice, the mental breakdowns will feel fancier. One jacket needed 70 leather. That wasn't happening. So I bet everything on my sad little cotton field. Before winter even hit, we got slammed with a cold snap. No clothes, barely any wood. Awesome. We crammed fires into every other room and tore down walls to share heat. Forgot the sauna bedroom plan. Built a hallway between kitchen and the storage, and tore apart our dining furniture to feed the flames. G-Box tried flirting with Alex. She rejected him. That really helped his grief.
Rebounding hard.
All the fun stuff was dragged indoors before anyone went completely feral. Everyone was just barely functioning. Their dopamine receptors withered from indoor captivity like neglected houseplants. All this time, I'd fought against the game, trying to get the hay into the barn. Then I ticked the magical checkbox which allowed fresh items. 2 days before winter, the cold snap finally gave up. We went leather hunting, gathered wood, and rescued Gonzales from a grass pod. That night, Gonzales joined us. Excuse me, Jason too. It's like he never left. While getting a crafter was nifty, we still needed a competent cook. In other positive news, we could reduce the jacket quota from 6 to 5. Yay! G-Box was hitting himself emotionally, mostly because he couldn't stop flirting with Alex. The rejection was now rivaling the grief. Alex shall now henceforth be known as Llama. Some traders stopped by but didn't bring clothes. And in my infinite wisdom, I accidentally sold all our medicine, then panic bought it back at markup. I'm so good at this, I scare myself. Our storage was overflowing with junk. G-Box slapped down some shelves and called it a day. Even though winter had been looming in the void behind my eyes like a tax deadline, it still caught me off guard. The plants quit, no cotton. Our horse had more food than we did. To limit the time outdoors, we tore down kitchen shelves and prepped to move the research table inside. Naturally, that's when Raid showed up. I checked his stats, got ideas, wanted him alive, so I had everyone dogpile him with melee.
Dang it!
Storage was overflowing with wood, so we used wood to build shelves. For wood, raiders dropped by with a single jacket. I bought it like it was the last slice of pizza in the world, and gave it to Llama, because it wasn't. Moments later, another raider. Bad stats, good clothes. Wanted him alive. The plan was, shoot him a little, punch him a lot, but carefully. Didn't work. Later that day, a raccoon went rogue. The thing did not read the script and ignored the traps. Once it calmed down, we taught it a lesson. G-Box was spiraling. Still chasing women who'd rather freeze than flirt. I started to worry. Then I noticed Llama had lost a toe to frostbite.
Was that my fault?
Every noon when it was warm, we hunted. And then, through some miracle, I became aware of the buffaloes on the map. That's a lot of meat, wrapped in hope. We geared up to hunt as a squad, since buffaloes don't go down easy. Right in the middle of it, G-Box snapped. Psychotic wandering time.
Why didn't I think of going after buffaloes? I'm stupid, that's why.
Being stuck inside with no fresh air and only 2 games makes anyone twitchy.
Leonie offered a backhanded compliment about Jishan's forehead. This drove Jishan into a rage and he began to fight. Well... yeah, you can increase your melee, that's fine. And then you sleep together. You idiots. Are you back? No, psychotic wandering, but you got cold so you're gonna wander inside now.
Next morning, Llama tried to patch up our WWE contestants.
No, select medicine. Yeah, no, heavens no. Don't use the good medicine. They are not worth that. No, don't use the good medicine. Why? Oh, this is the one. Isn't it? I've been using the wrong one. This is what they carry with them. Yeah. It makes sense, because if you look here, how many should they carry with them? I've been screaming at the game so many times here, like, why? What's going on? And it's always been me. It's always been my fault. I don't like it.
There was a small hole in the storage wall. Behind could be anything. Yeah, I had that patched. Out of sight, out of mind. The wealth graph said we were thriving, which was bold, considering we had nothing. Then again, I've never been good at math. We took down a fire. Balancing indoor temps with campfires is art. We finished researching stone cutting. Next up, beer brewing, because sanity matters. G-Bucks reported and joined our next hunt. It went well, so we got cocky. We went for one more, and that's why Llama almost got stumped to death. Day 6 of winter, we finally made our first jacket. Better late than never. My leadership remains undefeated, and once again, love found a way in the most inappropriate circumstances.
Liania tried to flirt with Llama by boasting about his own eating habits. Llama responded well, he's now Liania's lover.
That's one more free bed. I'll take it. As if to celebrate, a beautiful aurora painted the sky. I forced everyone outside to look at it. It wasn't optional. The next hunt nearly became a disaster. The buffalo herd snapped and charged. Llama was almost turned into carpet again, but through tactical kiting and screaming, we brought them all down. Next morning, Lianiu got his jacket. Some visitors left a gladius by the corpse pile as a gift.
What do you take us? Some sort of primates? That's fair. We'll take it, thank you. We'll take anything, honestly.
We'd been making the wrong thing all along. I finally read the clothing descriptions. Turns out, parkas are better for winter. I have a brain like a police brick. Right after Rusty got hers, G-Box started pinching Ambrosia. We tried to lock him out of the storage. Didn't work. G-Box was so out of his skull, he couldn't even feel the cold. I'm not even sure he knew what season it was. Then, unsurprisingly, he got addicted.
Yeah, okay, that's gonna be fun.
Eventually, he returned, spiritually gutted and very tired. It only took 2/3 of winter for everyone to finally get a jacket or a parka. Progress. We built a gibble room, hunted the last buffalo, finished beer research, and Lianiu set out to tame turkeys. This would be later considered a mistake. From the next set of traders, I bought chickens, which sounds fine on paper, but paper doesn't have a food crisis tab. We also donated our old clothes for money. G-Box's dive into further breakdowns was interrupted by a psychic drone drifting over like icing on a crab cake. A reminder that pain is forever. Winter was actually going well. No babysitting. People hopped in and out as they pleased. We ignored every quest like responsible adults. Then, a snowman appeared. Unprompted. No explanation. No order. Just there. In all my 200 hours, which isn't that much, never seen one. Now I live with the knowledge that it happened. Anyway, the barn was full. We extended it, because saying no to more animals is not something I've learned how to do. Right before finishing a workshop extension, we got raided. The raider had okay stats. I could have fixed her. Except no, she's going to the corpse lake now. Spring began with a psychic suit, which survived a whole year. Our eatery was running on fumes. We had to hunt twice a day. Because we kept turning everything into kibble, the animals were thriving. We were not. We also stole leftovers from a fox. That's just where we are now. For no strategic reason, I made everyone wear bowler hats. Morale went up, mine, not theirs. On the 6th of spring, a flash storm hit. Nobody had slept, so naturally, we put them on fire duty. Miserable and flammable. What a combo. From earlier scientific experiments, we had leftovers late, so we used them to make our outer bedroom walls a little more fireproof. Then an alpaca joined out of nowhere. Great, more mouths. We unlocked beer brewing ages ago, but I forgot we needed actual equipment to make beer. By the time I noticed, we were almost done researching chems. Incredible. On the 9th of spring, indoor temps finally stabilized. We took down the fires, patched the holes, and for the first time in days, people had something resembling privacy. Few seconds later, I started to awaken to the fact that we were feeding all of our food to the animals, and we unlocked chem production. Next target, psychite refining, to create flake and yaoi, both excellent for trading or self-destruction. Later, a dry thunderstorm hit. I panicked. Then rain showed up like a responsible roommate. A few days later, we were starving. Again, so we started eating our animals. It's called pivoting. As if things weren't going bad enough already, Liani rejected Llama's marriage proposal. Morale dipped. Food poisonings returned to the menu. Always good to see a classic. G-Box continued his personal emotional demolition project.
G-Box charmed Bionic Llama by drawing attention to his own construction skill. Llama did not respond.
An eclipse arrived, then a raid by the kinship of 2 people this time. But before they attacked, a wanderer begged to join, on the condition we stop her pursuers. Gladly. The raiders and the chasers fought each other. Free entertainment. We snatched a survivor, One of the remaining bad guys got tired after stepping on a trap. The other remembered he left the stove on. Our fastest guy, Chishan, chased him down.
Oh no. He fights back. I didn't expect this.
His stats were garbage, but hey, now we have a medical dummy. Never mind. Summer started with our prisoner dying from his injuries. That same night, we finished researching psychite refining. Maybe chems can fill the void left by the food. Moved on to Devil's Strand because fashion stops for no man. The animals kept escaping, so we built an airlock. Also, from behind, the female turkeys look like rat heads to me. This isn't relevant, I just needed you to know that. On the 3rd of August, we got attacked by a manhunter pack of 2 raccoons. We wildly overreacted, got into position, and watched the 2 furry mother fluffers cancel their subscriptions to Life in Our Traps. Around 9 o'clock, we started making a poker table so people could shut the heck up about recreation already. Llama wasn't waiting, she flew into a food pinch. I get it, I'm an emotional eater too. As it is on brand for me, it took me over 2 days to put the psychite refining research into action and remember to start cooking flake and yaoi for trade. Next day, eggs hatched, more mouths to feed. Llama passed out after pinching for over a day. Yeah, that tracks. Right as we were finishing the billiards table, Randy sent us a shooting drone, then immediately balanced it with a raid. Net result, some broken traps, bullet holes in the drywall, and a new prisoner, Pox. Good deal. Then I renamed Crosby, the one who got chased into our lives, to Zilladin 2. Seconds later, another raid, 3 this time. One had grenades. We all focused on him before he could pull the pin. The last one tried escaping. Smartest move anyone's done around these parts. The only damage we took this time was from friendly fire, after the fight. Splendid! Looking at corpse leg made me feel better. On the 9th, a heat wave hit. Devil's Strand was researched. Randy, sensing our suffering, sent us turkey eggs. Cool, that's what we needed. The next day, Zilla got hit by, she got struck by a smooth heat stroke. On the upside, our new defenses were finally done. After that, medical emergency kept flashing on the screen, which I ignored while pondering dusters. Turns out that was a bad call. Zilladin expired from the heat stroke. Amazing! The temperatures inside were showing numbers. The heat claimed our prisoner, Pox, next. He got a full body census layoff. Our other prisoner was working through an extreme heat stroke too. Honestly, nobody asked, and even fewer people cared. Next day, we buried Zilladin 2, held a small ceremony again.
No.
No boomalopes to shoot that time, sadly. Heat got rid of the animals too.
Where did that guy go? Ain't no way. Park Sheriff dead. Oh, freaking nothing's going my way. Whatever, we'll handle it together.
It was wild to see heat stroke, heat wave, and the need for warm clothes at the same time. Then we saw the return of the plague, the revenge. This time, our dog got hit. We made him a nice bed and hope for the best. Seconds later, a transport pod crashed nearby. It was Fisher, a statistically good worker. She'd leave this world in 5 hours, not willing to bet on my or the crew's competence. We patched her up on the spot, immediately, and dropped her on Zilladin's still warm bed. She doesn't need to know. To add salt and lemon juice flavored insult to injury, Fisher's left leg got slapped by an infection. Great, but this time, we were ready. We even used the good medicine. We'd seen enough death. She recovered, then tried to leave. Absolutely not. The infection was still active, and those pills weren't free. We built her a bedroom. It doubled as a prison cell. She didn't notice. Later, Rusty tried to flirt with Chishan by comparing him to a magnificent feather. Didn't work. Maybe next time try a more masculine metaphor that doesn't involve poultry.
Oh, turkey just self-tamed. Weren't that lovely? It's not like we have a bird problem already.
As fall arrived, G-Box had another mental breakdown. Right in the middle of our mission to claim fertile land for farming. He'd been hitting himself emotionally again.
It's been a rough day for you.
Food shortages had worn us down. We let the birds go. Too young to eat, too hungry to live. An alpaca went mad, tripped a trap, and we patched it up for medical practice. Before uninstalling the Twitch rename mod, it saddled our prisoner with a name I can't change, Raid. From now on, Llama's medical training would happen on our least wanted guests, starting with wooden limb replacements. Once the farming expansion was ready enough, we planted hay grass in a last-ditch bid to feed our animals before winter. Llama failed her first surgery. This is why we practice on people who just don't matter. While Rainer's raiders prepared for an assault, I laid out some plans for more fields on the fertile patches.
I forgot! There was a raid incoming!
Randy followed up with some dice. No clue what to do with those. On the 7th of September, a flash storm tried to barbecue the base. G-Box almost got flambeed. Our prisoner went berserk in the middle of it, naturally, and Randy's fireballs crept closer. The guy put up a decent fight, but we dropped him like a wasabi-flavored condom. Then I finally remembered, word needs processing. Maybe we'll finally see beer before the next century. I didn't actually check, but I hope that was all the steps covered. Fisher finally joined us. We named her Zilladin 3. Let's see how long this one lasts. As the fire was about to knock on our back door, and the moment we went out to fight it, it started to rain. Things were going so splendidly that we started handing out our own food to keep the animals filled up. Then we set out to rescue Mira, and overpacked like it was Skyrim carry weight challenge, which turned that self-tamed alpaca from pet to a self-made critical piece of logistics. 2 ambushes later, each one just a single confused guy, we rescued Mira and the attacker, patched both, and hauled the strays home. Meanwhile, back at base, a trader relieved us of our chickens. Less headaches to keep alive. Llama failed another surgery, leaving the prisoner a little lopsided. The Hippocratic Oath was more of a suggestion anyway. As snow season approached, we improvised a fire room and vented it to the prison cells for temperature control. Amazingly, this plan actually worked. Our second winter began with Randy sending us bison wool for warmth. Lianu and Llama got engaged. We roofed over the rec area, built a shooting range, finished smithing research, and finally started looking into electricity. Then starvation hit, because there is no winter with me that doesn't involve bad planning. At least we had the clothes on our backs. Hunting bailed us out as usual. We reopened the pen so the mules could forage. Plebe joined as our new researcher. We named him Agent. Bedrooms got fire ventilation. The holes in the wall system was replaced with actual vents. Upgrades. Day 8, the Busto people attacked. 3 raiders.
Security mode.
Then Rainer sent raid 2, 3 more. As everyone scrambled, G-San took the opportunity to pinch Smokeleaf. G-Box was stumbling from food poisoning. The rest of the crew went back out to cover him. But as everyone retreated, our doctor, Llama, got hit by a stray arrow. She shrugged it off, while the 2 enemy groups fought each other. After the scuffle outside died down, one Batman lit our workshop on fire. Agent fisted it out of existence. The trap gauntlet swept 2 guys off their feet, and the last one forgot their kids on the roof. We captured Paul, unwavering loyalty, never joining us, perfect medical dummy. Everyone was super tired after the long night. Mental break risk spread like flu season. We placed a medicine shelf by the prison for educational purposes. Then came the ass goblins. They landed with parts. Very impressive, but all they had were gloves. Less impressive.
Onesan!
2 raiders smashed vents in our under-construction living quarters, then broke into bedrooms and started fires. Unwilling to take it, we went on the offense this time, dropped them, and captured Jay. All vent doors were rebuilt in stone. Not playing that game again. A caravan stopped by. I offloaded the alpaca. Their problem now. Notably, we bought a medical trainer, fed it to Llama. Her medical skill shot from 8 to 14. Maybe now surgery won't create abstract art. Seconds later, marriage time. Lianu and Llama tied the knot. We couldn't afford a feast, but at least nothing burned down. We built a new wall to protect living quarters vents from future vandalism, and gave everyone a job title suffix, so I could remember what they actually do around here. Spring 5502. New year, new us. First thing that happened? Cold snap. What a freaking way to start the year. Thanks, Randy. I installed a new mod, Blueprints. Lets me copy-paste rooms. Big recommend. Saved my sanity. By the 3rd of April-May, the new living quarters were ready for use, and the current base layout looks like a toddler's Lego dump. The cold snap left the next day. Cool. Glad we panicked for nothing. Fast forward about a day and the Busto people were paying us a visit again. 5 of them this time. The stakes are getting higher. Most of them were polite enough to use the front door, except one idiot who started headbutting a stone wall. G-Box giggled while repairing it from the other side. Nobody made it past the trap hall. The wall fornicator fled, but not before we got under his skin, with bullets. That'll teach him to love the walls on our property. Morale was high, inspirations left and right. It was suspicious. We gave the remaining wooden outer walls a Medusa's gaze upgrade, just in case a less polite raid came knocking. Then our prisoner, Fake Silla, hit a medical emergency, extreme malnutrition, which reminded me, oh right, food. Crops still days away from harvest, not ideal. Later, I renamed our artist. Mira, after a friend and a fellow streamer, Miskulini. Some traders dropped by. We swapped chems and art for food. Can't live off of narcotics. Though some people would argue, I'm sure. Moments later, another visitor brought food in exchange for our floor clutter. Love that guy. On the 8th, a piece of an ancient ship fell out of the sky, complete with bad Wi-Fi. The psychic droner started making everyone depressed. We couldn't sit this one out. G-Bugs followed his true calling and grabbed the Gladius. Lama took some grenades. She's bad at shooting, but maybe she can toss a ball. We still hadn't finished the wall. Psychic Downer kept drilling into our skulls. Time was not on our side. Then an eclipse hit, working in the dark. Love that for us. The crash site caught fire. We ignored it. Tradition. G-Bugs worked non-stop on the wall until we ran out of stone blocks. Temporary wooden sections went up. Hehe, erect wood. Our fastest guys, G-San, a jogger, and Agent with a go frenzy, went to poke the mech nest. Our plan to lure them into our trap sort of worked, until it didn't. After just one trip, they both turned back as if they forgot what they were doing. So we just rushed it. 0 losses, not even dignity. The butter knife brigade went down easy.
Psychic droner. It should be psychic downer. Yeah!
Once the tension lifted, everyone immediately started eating.
Oh yeah, I bet everybody was hungry. Standing attention the whole day.
3 days later, food poisoning made its comeback. Nice to see familiar faces. We finished researching electricity. Finally, Jay joined us and I renamed him after my friend Honketon. He majors in medical and smarts, with a minor in shooting. Solid package. We got at the research room and hyper-focused on making it bigger, laying the groundwork for a freezer. A war merchant dropped by. We sold our extra herbal meds, and whatever junk we'd been tripping over for weeks. After that, a diplomatic quest showed up. Completely useless, but it reminded us of another quest. Only 3 days left to save Lianiu's ex-wife. It was now or never. Actually, summer just hit us. 2 days left. We scrambled a caravan. Travel time cut from 1.6 days to just barely under 1. Thanks, CJ. Arts looked decent. Agent, drafted for the mission, was still at war with food poisoning. He slowed us down immediately. Great start. Halfway there, ambush. One guy freaked around, found out, and that was that. Back at base, 2 donkeys joined us. Yeah, sure. That may as well happen. We reached the site exhausted and irritable, so naturally, we started the rescue at once. The night and the dry thunderstorm gave us cover. Jisan, our sniper, snuck forward to get the party started. Both hostiles charged out in response. Agent immediately took a nap when the bullets started flying. The fight ended quickly. Only casualty, our dignity. The surviving bad lad, Donkey, wasn't worth keeping. Jisan had a mental break mid-loot and started insulting everyone. We left him inside to insult nobody in peace. Lianiu's ex-wife was in the next building. We grabbed her and wrapped up. Then a unique deal was offered. 250 herbal meds for nearly 5,000 silver in stuff. Doable, but tight. We accepted. The caravan stumbled home before midnight, 2nd of August. Tired and angry, but still alive. We started expanding the workshop to feed a smithy. Research air conditioning, started investigating carpets. Lianiu's ex-wife, now known as Nico, joined the crew. We built our first wind turbine, learned you can't remove thick mountain roof, then forehead veined the turbine into a new spot. 5th of summer, freezer finally got its first cooler. Our prisoner with mismatched legs got new hands. He paid for the operation with a kidney and a lung. We ran power lines under the crops. Future farming accident in progress.
Done.
With some crew on standby, we finally cracked open the scary storage wall. Found a whole lot of nothing. For the first time ever, the scary noises were, in fact, just the wind. Perfect spot for a battery. Next plan, Jade Animal Fence, for flex. Then Randy sent mechs. 3 of them, all specialized in ranged combat, very bad at melee. We planned ambush points near the gauntlet. Everyone got into position. G-Bugs would lock them in melee when they got close. We were extremely worried about his safety, and we fully expected them to beat us easily in ranged combat. That didn't happen.
I was so worried. I forgot about the traps. See, they are right there, and I didn't think about them. I was so worried.
Further into the season, our society who had already discovered electricity finally figured out carpets. History books won't like that. Meanwhile, the organs we harvested, still causing minor social issues. Apparently that's frowned upon. we let the prisoner go. We'd harvested everything we could without sending him to meet his higher creators. Nobody wanted to buy him. Also, he still had a tongue. He can warn the others.
I wonder which one of us is the lucky one.
On the 9th of August, most of the colony was struck by food poisoning. Back to normal. Then I realized I never designated a new research project. Excellent leadership. That evening, G-Box was losing it again. He was back to his old tricks. Mental stability in this colony is a collector's item. With the battery done, we built a wood-fired generator to diversify our power grid. Our freezer was failing. We replaced a torch with a wall light to take the temperature down. Didn't work. A wild man wandered in. We considered taming him, then looked away and found him in the traps later. That solved itself. Then a heat wave hit us, but by now, we just ignored it. We were getting desensitized to nature with the tantrums. We tried adding another cooler to the freezer. Did not work. While toiling in the gauntlet, G-Bug stepped on his own trap. We planned some doors to stop that from happening again. The damage wasn't too bad, just delayed the lab construction. Llama gave him beer and chems to cheer him up. Effective, if unethical, but that's the norm here. Because the base looked like a garbage dump, Agent had a breakdown. Took it out on Rusty. Insulted her courageousness, as one does. He snapped out of it pretty soon after that. Rusty ignored him. Soon after, Agent used the world's oldest pickup line. He told Miskulini a story about eating bell peppers, and it worked, predictably. Love finds a way, even through the gastrointestinal tract. Gross. The next day, a psychic downer flew by. A cool addition on top of the field and the heat wave. So, the freezer was refusing to chill. The spot behind the cooler was probably the culprit, leaking heat back in. It was displaying numbers. I can only imagine how Nico felt opening that rocky vent and getting hit with Satan's blow dryer. But it worked. 14th of August. Heat wave over. Psychic drone gone. G-Box back to full strength. One of our 3 donkeys got pregnant. Agent and Scylla fought over food preferences like toddlers. Last day of summer. Research advanced light to save power. Lab was pretty much done. And we ran out of cloth while carpeting the rec room. Fall arrived like a freight train of dumb decisions. First event, Mad Muffalo. Cute. We went out to blow it to bits because we just fixed our traps. Good practice. Because things were about to go downhill on roller skates. I installed a mod that speeds up research based on tech level. It's smarter, it's faster. It's cheating if you're a coward. Let me know if you think it ruins the suffering. Fall's dress code was basically spring, but with bowler hats. Because fashion. G-Bugs made a masterwork dining chair. The description was something about Llama reading a book. Is indirect flirting his strategy now. We renamed our cat after one of Zilla's, Ripley. Believe it or not, remember that 250 herbal medicine quest? Yeah, the deadline was creeping up like food poisoning. We harvested early and prayed. Somehow, we barely scraped enough together. Onketon was still hanging around, wasting time and not leaving with the caravan, which was really comforting. Really made me wish for a day where I'm not leaving things until the last minute. What wasn't as comforting was realizing I just sent 60% of the crew away, because right on cue. And now we get raided the moment. Okay, fine, whatever. The traps have been set, so it's fine. They barely made it through the traps before retreating. We got 3 prisoners, 2 worth recruiting, and 1 to experiment on for that diversity quota. Unfortunately, thanks to the quest, we were almost out of medicine, which is a problem when your prisoner decides to catch an infection. Oh, another raid. Really? Now they attack when our crew... No, our defenses are not ready at all. No, this is bad. G-Box had time to slap down a single trap before they showed up. We deserved whatever happened next. This was punishment for feeling safe for 5 minutes. What a freaking timing. Thank you, Randy. Then the infected prisoner got a second infection. Gotta catch them all. The enemy's vanguard eased their way past our barricades. We should have had G-Box guard the back line. The enemy's melee fighters shredded our shooters, but G-Box didn't sit on his hands. He went full blender and pacified the enemy's rear permanently on his own. Our back line, however, was just a pile of regrets. Lianyu chased down the last survivor and turned him into coffin stuffings. Therapy is not an option here. G-Box tried to play doctor, which was unfortunate because he's about as medically qualified as a sack of hammers. Rusty was leaking like a medieval juice box. Llama was prioritized because she's the actual doctor. G-Box planned to attend to Rusty immediately after on the spot, but our husky decided she needed a scenic detour, dragging her to bed like a tuckered out toddler. Those extra few tiles almost killed her. When G-Box finally reached her, her Her countdown kept bouncing between 2 and 3 hours. One slip up and she was gone. Then suddenly, it jumped to 11 hours. Crisis survived. Barely. The next morning, Llama stood up like a champion, full of purpose. She looked ready to ignore her pain and take care of everyone. Except that didn't happen. She threw a tantrum instead. Critical timing. She recovered quickly and went to treat a prisoner, but instead of grabbing the medicine right next to her, she limped across the map for the one that wasn't. At that point, I let fate handle it. My hands were clean. Food was another issue. Everyone was too injured to get any. Meanwhile, the caravan made it to the quest site. The reward was technically worth it. Back at base, things were falling apart. One prisoner went berserk and punched his roommate. Rusty collapsed in the middle of her meal. Then the other prisoner went berserk too, punched the door 3 times and snapped out of it. The prisoners were separated. Prevention is easier than triage.
Caravan is back. Yes.
The animals couldn't be handled properly, because when I dismantled the old pen, I also deleted the pen marker, and we had no wood to build a new one, so the animals just freestyled it. Honketon's return meant we had 2 doctors again, and I could go back to ignoring basic first aid. 6th of September, Agent and Miskulin got engaged. Hopefully the morale boost covered the emotional labor. Llama's stomach was destroyed in the last fight, which is not considered medically ideal. 2 prisoners starved to reduction in existence. We had food, but nobody cared to warden, so I quadrupled the amount of wardens. Nutrient-based research was finished. We built the dispenser, but didn't leave enough room for hoppers. Then Zilla broke and started emotional eating because of the cold. No big deal, I thought, except she emptied our entire meal storage overnight. Honestly impressive, almost proud. Despite our giant crop fields, we were also somehow out of raw food. Don't ask. Day 11, we installed stone flooring under the smelter and smithy to prevent fire, not because we needed to, but because immersion is important. Hoppers finally got installed. I assumed food was solved forever, and suspended cooking. Then the power went out. Our backup plan was to tame radioactive cows with explosive personalities, milk them for chem fuel, then fire up a new generator. Except we didn't get to do any of that. The power of friendship doesn't work on an empty stomach. No feed, no tame. So yeah, the light stayed off. On the bright side, we unlocked packaged survival meals. On the dark side, we still couldn't cook dinner. A Boomalob rejected Misku's platonic advances. Luckily, she managed to calm it down without getting hurt.
If we finish it off, I don't think it explodes. Never mind.
Because we no longer had a wooden stove and no steel to build a new one, Lianu embraced the nostalgia of cooking over an open fire, just like his ancestors did, which, in his case, meant him a few seasons ago. Truly, history repeats itself, usually badly. After digging up half the map, we concluded there was no steel conveniently available. But then some traders stopped by. We sold them our finest collection of chems and garbage, bought a mountain of components and steel. With that, we built a chem fuel generator and a second windmill. Power was mostly fixed. Still rebuilt the wood stove anyway, because trauma. On the last day of September, crops started clocking out. We still hadn't harvested any of our devil strand, so everyone piled in for a frantic harvest crunch. Rusty and Zilla kept going and grabbed whatever veggies hadn't frozen yet. Still hadn't seen the nutrient paster in use, and I wouldn't trust the thing until I did. Randy sent us some skulls. No note, no explanation. Cool, we'll use them for decoration. Paul was crazy. Winter was worse. It started normal. A mad Muffalo came to say hi. We overreacted. The research on solar power was completed. Slapped a panel next to the wind turbines, as directed by the council. Got a quest for a cook. About freaking time. I promised to make an honest effort to do it before it was the last minute again. Fun fact, you can't bring sandbags in caravans. You have to haul the materials and build them on site. Day 3, another psychic ship crash landed. This one came with 4 oversized Swiss Army knives. Chizan attempted to use the self-checkout service. For no adequately explored reasons, we rearmed all the traps before stirring the nest. Then our fasted colonist, also Chizan, put half of them with a sniper. They did the usual, got lost in the gauntlet like IKEA shoppers. We managed to bounce on one of them mid-return, and put it out of order in the name of scrap. I'm not sure how to explain the next part. Sometimes my brain is like a snow globe. Next thing I knew, I was getting a glute workout fighting 3 industrial-grade letter openers at once. We focused fire, load them down with bullets, hiding and screaming followed. Basic hit and scramble, and somehow we won.
Yeah, look at that. We got it. That was so freaking close.
I love the Blueprint mod. I'm surprised it's not in the base game. Just like how most survival games don't have auto pull from base inventories for crafting by default. Is convenience somehow a bad thing? Later, Nat joined our motley group. We named him Carlos. He answers the door, he cleans up the estate, and he takes out the trash, which also includes self-entitled little raiders that happen his way. Rhinos turned out to be way tankier than expected. Agent almost became a hood ornament. Day 6 of winter. The Boomalo Friendship Frontier experienced another hiccup, but that was nothing. A toxic fallout warning dropped like an invitation to a family reunion. Equal parts alarming, toxic, and inevitable, so we did the rational thing. Panicked in unison like dwarves, and walled ourselves in under a weighted comfort blanket made of steel and masonry. On the upside, the nutrient baster worked. We did set it up correctly. Confirmed. If we forget the occasional tantrum, things seemed to be going well. Food was plenty, or so I thought. The brain council told me I could change difficulty mid-game, so I increased it. Probably a mistake? Jizan and Nico decided to become lovers in the middle of the fallout.
Matt Turkey? Oh well, you enjoy yourself out there.
Carlos versus Turkey. Who will win?
It's a lot closer than I thought. Yeah, turkeys don't mess around.
Day 10. Raiders sold us Glitterworld meds, a tube TV and components. Next day, Misku and Agent got married. Hopefully not a toxic relationship. Inside Vault 69, food was running low. Tensions were high. We ate our buffalo and bought scraps from visitors. Before I could touch any other animal, raiders showed up to bathe in the glowing sea. Our better than ever gauntlet handled them. Carlos had been nagging us for a melee weapon, and I can see why. Armed with the gladius, he went after the fleeing enemies and turned everyone he caught into something that would make a tribophobe cry. We got 4 prisoners, half were emotionally unavailable. We dragged the out-of-order raiders into the freezer and snacked on the forbidden chicken.
Bill complete. Yeah, that's Bill right there, going to the nutrient-based machine. We have been sitting most of winter inside, just like our first winter.
Yo! No time to relax. Insects crashed in. Plan was to let them marinate in poison, but then the steroid termites started eating the rock walls. We rushed them, peppered them with lead. The length of the command chain had some issues and we could not avoid face tanking them. As in, it took too long for the message to register inside my brain. Rusty, Zilla and Agent got pretty chewed up, but nobody died. Also, I learned that the human baster does not remove the cannibalism or the insect meat debuff. Nobody had a good time.
Spring has begun!
Year 5503 began with the fallout finally packing its bags and moving on to traumatize someone else. We didn't wait around for the next batch of shackles, and the glow parts became part of our furniture. They weren't pretty, they wouldn't last, but they were free, like a Craigslist sofa. The forbidden chicken without too many bite marks were taken to the corpse lake. The animal population hadn't exactly bounced back, but we didn't have time to wait. Unless we wanted to fish things back up from the corpse lake. Leonie returned to cooking, though for some reason, the folks sometimes preferred raw meat over nutrient paste, which says less about their taste buds and more about how awful paste really is. Also, I couldn't figure out how to take nutrient slop on caravan trips. We needed to finish the mission to get our first cook. Day 3, pack of manhunting hares. Normally that's a punchline. This time, it was more rabbits than the traps could chew. I was under the impression that fences and barricades stopped animals. The damage was minimal. Free meat delivery was appreciated. I briefly considered trading with our neighbors for extra food, but since they already hated us, I decided not to show up just to get hate crimed at the gate. Instead, the pantry was stacked with whatever animals were brave enough to wander within our effective boundaries. Day 5, blast storm broke through, but thanks to the fallout, there wasn't really anything to burn, so it was more of a light show than a disaster. We released a stubborn prisoner to save rations, then immediately had to deal with donkey flu. On the upside, machining research was completed. On the downside, I realized our second battery had been built but went unconnected for 4 days. The situation was such, we fed our sick donkeys meat-based nutrient paste. With only 9 meals in stock, I imagined it would be enough for the quest to delete a tribe. While the caravan was doing its thing, walking to places and stuff, I admired the result of our street design experiment. The caravan got ambushed by one guy with a knife. He was promptly turned into a cautionary tale, patched up because we are the good guys, and then robbed of everything, including his furniture. The actual mission went about as well as you'd expect when guns fight bows. The crew still got wrecked. Honkedon managed to patch people up, though he was also bleeding out like a human sprinkler. But the quest was a success, and Kay, our first cook, joined the colony. She was depressive, had an old wound, and basically never stopped complaining. In other words, she fit right in.
Oh, surprisingly it's a cook again. That one guy who doesn't know how to have fun.
Later, prisoner Fane joined too, and since I was running out of creative steam and names, I just started tagging people after their jobs. If you would like to have a pawn named after you, drop a desired name in the comments or stop by the RimWorld stream. Day 10. We opened up another hidden chamber. Did I over-prepare? Yes. But hey, masterwork started popping up everywhere. G-Box and G-Sun were flexing so hard they could have hosted an art exhibit. Nature finally retaliated to our one-sided slaughter with a berserk boar.
Help, G-Box, help! Yo, G-Box, did you just get bored?
After that, the other prisoner joined us. Chef, shooting and crafter major, and a backup cook.
This is the biggest colony I've ever had.
And as soon as I said that, another recruit crash landed. Timing was immaculate. We put the house before the recruitment. Against our previous prospecting, we did find a new hidden steel vein on our lot. Spring wrapped up with one prisoner catching an infection, while the rest of us obsessed over street layouts like failed city planners with too much free time. Summer of 5503. What a summer it was. Things started strong. Miskulini finished a legendary sculpture. It was shaped like an empty sandal. Art is weird like that. Sometimes it's the Mona Lisa, sometimes it's crocs without context. Steel excavation was going smoothly, except for one lone stone pillar blocking progress. That only took one click to fix, since armor slows spawns down. I told everyone to take it off during peacetime. This decision would later be filed under "Mistakes were made." At midnight, starvation made its comeback tour. We retaliated with hunting, indulged in the resulting paste, got food poisoning anyway because apparently operating the paste dispenser is rocket surgery. Day 2, things started to unravel. Drop pods landed directly in our freezer and gave birth to bad lads. Among them was Agent's ex-wife Blanca. They are weaponizing divorce now. The Ash Goblins had clearly leveled up since their last visitation at Corpse Lake. The first thing they did, break shelves, dodge the freezer, and ruin all the food. Classic. We stacked at the choke point. Carlos got shot by friendly fire before the raiders even touched him. Honketon tried to keep him running the front line. Then Carlos got shot again. Also by us. Seriously. She didn't last long after that. Honketon dragged her to our makeshift infirmary, which we also used as cover. G-Box was left in charge of the front line alone. He didn't last long after that either, with our front line down. The raiders pushed out of the freezer like turds through the forbidden fruit loop. Honketon dropped next. Nobody liked that. That's when the guests realized they'd overstayed their welcome.
Lianu! Go beat him up. Lianu, did you catch up? Yeah. Yeah, frick that guy, by the way.
Honketon grabbed himself to bed, while everyone else argued over which fire to put out first. I briefly considered keeping one flame as a souvenir. The results: several injuries, but none incompatible with life, and a prisoner. Now imagine if everyone had armors on. But no, I opted for fashion and comfortable convenience. Randy celebrated our survival by gifting us flake. Llama celebrated by eating raw food. Starvation was back on the menu. Hook celebrated by throwing a tantrum instead of cooking. Truly the circle of life. Then G-Box couldn't take the pain anymore. Picked a fight with Lianu and promptly got slapped out of it. Llama hid in her room, because denial is free therapy.
Okay, we can afford a few tantrums, no problem.
I'm coping. Now more learned from the whole ordeal. We prepared armor for Carlo so she could not wear it again when another conflict came up. Word about the Corpse Lake must have spread. It was almost fully booked. Right as we laid the foundation for a proper infirmary, the power was cut out. Turns out the raider had blown up a cable. Lesson learned? Maybe build a second one? After Randy dropped us some steel, which was exactly what we needed, Hunger drove us to take out a family of gerbils. Lianu tried to slaughter a boomalope delicately. Lost his eyebrows in the consequence.
Learned a lesson there.
Nearby boomalope took damage from the explosion. We narrowly avoided what could have been a boomalope dominoes. As always, we had no food. We gathered around a mega slot to do something about it. The trophy got dragged back home. That's when I realized we still had corpses in the freezer. Nobody had bothered to process them. To speed things up, Lianu butchered while Cook made meals. Naturally, Lianu threw a tantrum mid-shift and slightly smashed the legendary bedroll. I'm still not over that. Nico hid in her room, citing recreation starvation. I have prepared the best things for them, but they just refuse to have fun. Heck, I even prepared some new stuff in case they were too stupid to find their way to the rec room. One player will be sitting under a vent for that stick nef debuff. Bonus. We got a new recruit, Lero. Not passionate about anything, but at least he won't complain. Basically a Swiss army knife without the sharp parts. Day 7. A Lynx tried to hunt our mine farm med. I know, pretty good name, huh? She had a shotgun, but missed her only chance to not embarrass herself. Luckily, Carlos was near to help. She hadn't had a weapon on her since the time she was infirmarized. Still won, only got some scratches. We may have overreacted like usual. Back on day 1, I ordered that lone stone pillar mined, and on the 8th day, I checked back and realized I'd misclicked. It had been smoothed instead. At least it reflected the state of my brain. Looking at the corpse leg made me feel better.
No!
Because of drowsiness, Carlos went on a smoke leaf binge. Carlos was arrested. I've been trying really hard to keep my base clean. It's just not happening. It also took us way over a week to complete the hospital. My leadership is something. After the gunsmithing research finished, we did a manual full body cleaning spree and moved the workshop closer to storage. Day 11, midnight.
Blake, really? The following tribes people have gotten sick. Pretty much everybody.
8 people, including of course both of our doctors, because no half measures I guess. It was quite stressful to micromanage sick Llama, but it had to be done, because she had the best medical ability.
Oh no, disturbed sleep, oh no.
Yeah, cry about it later. We are bleeding to death from germs right now. There wasn't even enough real medicine to heal everyone, so Carlos got the herbal tea treatment. Meanwhile, Honketon charmed Carlos in the middle of all this by saying good things about her family background. Talk about timing.
One free bed? I'll take it.
Then Prisoner Parks decided he was done being a prisoner. Farmhand DLC unlocked. We sent a caravan for medicine, and to turn in button-down shirts for a Glitterworld Meds reward. Except we forgot the shirts, and they had no medicine to sell, so the trip was basically a sightseeing tour. Back at home, Carlos was raising her Blake immunity like it was a speed run. Thanks to me forcing Llama to work 24/7 like a medieval nurse, she just barely pulled through.
Immunity! We have won.
Meanwhile, Nico decided to have a mental breakdown, which is basically our new family tradition. The break risk warning is a permanent wallpaper at this point. During remodeling, I thought roof collapses were harmless. Nobody would be stupid enough to stand under one. Then a boomaload got bunked on the head. Luckily no one was hurt in the explosion. Later, I had Carlos put her armor on and had her fight a walk as a test. The steroid wolf couldn't even scratch Carlos. Perfect scientific experiment. Control group, Lero standing nearby in case things went wrong. Last day of summer. A heat wave blanketed the region. Nobody cared. It was the last thing summer had to throw at us. Paul 5503. First order of business. Uninstall interaction bubbles. Watching pawns talk is fun for exactly 3 seconds. After that, it's just pop-up spam with subtitles for how much they hate each other. The new trend seems to be that seasons start with mad animals. This time, 15 tortoises. Apparently Randy thought the colony needed a Mario Kart DLC. Please don't sue me, Nintendo. Everyone geared up for target practice while Janitor bravely volunteered as bait. In hindsight, letting a squad of walking soup bowls chew through all my traps wasn't peak strategy.
Get that turtle! Yo, that was a wall hack. For sure.
Lesson learned. If Bowser's minions can shred my defenses, maybe the gauntlet needs more traps. Then it was tantrum time. Llama went ahead and started redecorating in the living quarters with a hammer. Reason? The rec room was too far away, probably. Next, I named one of our donkeys appropriately, Lydia. Gave Llama a title, Plague Doctor, for her heroic medical micromanagement. Notice how cool the flak jacket looked on Carlos, and that her right kidney had turned into a 3D puzzle some time ago. Oof, the settler with a really cool name got renamed Sin. Welcome to the crew. Then I started handing out more titles for funsies. Honk's title, Plague Romantic. Carlos's title, Herbal Plague. G-Box, Helpless Romantic. And Cook, Negative Nancy. Day 3. I made a bold economic move, lowering wealth by giving away junk. Sent a caravan to White Ridge with a pile of shirts. Remember those shirts? They've been haunting me since the Blake arc. Naturally, the second the caravan left, a psychic downer rolled in, and a vegetable plague struck. More mild inconveniences. Apparently, light jumps between species too. How fun! Day 4, infestation again. And here's where my tactical genius shined. I forgot armor. Again, I forgot choke points. Basically, I sent incapable soldiers with nerf guns to a bug rave.
Remind yourself that overconfidence is a slow and insidious killer.
And also hilarious when you're not the one losing an eyeball. Speaking of which, Zilladin lost her right eye.
I am so sorry. That's so cool, but I'm so sorry.
Sin lost a toe in the scuffle. Rusty's nose got shattered. Misculini and G-Bugs got an infection. It was a matter of when, not if. This whole ordeal wasn't just a mistake. This was one of the mistakes. Not everyone could even fit into our infirmary. Can't wait to tell you about the next miscalculation. Randy, feeling bad about curb stomping me, dropped some components as an apology gift. Thanks. Still mad. Once Carlos could stand, I had her smash every hive like an angry exterminator. No need to give the fun police a round 2. The caravan finally arrived in White Ridge. The search were handed over, and some enthusiastic trading took place. Day 6. Microelectronics research done. The next plan was to complete some of the faster research in hopes of making future scientific exploration easier.
Grizzly bear revenge. Oh, that's what's happening. Oh. Yo, relations are gonna go down because they decided to box a bear. How is that my fault?
Then again, respect, that was kinda metal. Naturally, I celebrated by forcing everyone back to work despite their injuries. Can they walk? Then they are old enough to weld. RimWorld OSHA is just a dream.
Oh, Code Snap, good timing. We already have unhappy nudity going around. Yeah, that's perfect. Also, I don't remember what I was planning with these few tiles on the ground here. No clue. I just kinda sometimes do things and then I abandon that idea.
Then the future me gets to play archaeologist on my own base. Halfway through fall, we took out the mad boomalope before it made a mess in the traps. The caravan finally returned, and Dark and Crazy became lovers. Next, Jizan and Nico got married. Everyone healed, morale high, happy times before the storm. The kind of a stretch that makes you paranoid. The wedding inspired Carlos to try her luck too. Sadly, Honketon wasn't ready for such commitment yet. Food poisoning remained undefeated. Janitor tried to romance Carlos by describing her as a magnificent spring. The graphic insinuation did not work. When a lynx tried to hunt one of us, we taught it the meaning of overwhelming firepower. Sometimes RimWorld is just a nature documentary gone wrong. Then day of September. Thanks to some happenings and severe mismanagement, it took us around 9 days to fire up the front door. The living quarters expansion was completed. We set up a new dining table so people could dry their tears, assembled an electric tailoring bench, and not one, but 2 high-tech research benches, and began planning a nice town square, park, recreation area, whatever. September 13. A transport pod crashed on our lot. Carlos's sister. Lama patched her up and tucked her into the guest room. I debated with myself about recruiting her. Nudists are basically walking mood debuffs, but RimWorld being RimWorld, fate decided that for me later. Then everything changed when the Laxlight mech hive attacked. Ooh! Centipede Blaster. While they prepared, I did not. My crew had no armor, only confidence, which turned out to be a poor substitute for not dying. The traps ate one of the maggots. Good start. Then they queued politely behind a pillar like they were waiting for the fun ride. Orderly and deadly. And oh, did they have a blast! In a flash of tactical brilliance, I sent Janitor and Farmer to fetch explosives, which in hindsight was the exact opposite of a good idea. We used them to remove our only advantage. Genius move.
Okay, that was bad. No, what the heck?
Maybe I should have test-fired the triple rocket launcher before making everything worse. Maybe I should have done many things. Hindsight is a full-time job. The mechs caused untold devastation. Well, it was untold, but I just told you about it, so now it's told devastation. I have a lot of regrets about this day. My pawns regret ever being born. They wish they had never left their mother's womb, where it was warm, and safe, and wet. The mechs showed us pain we never knew existed. We saw a whole new spectrum of pain, like a rainbow. But this rainbow was not just like any other rainbow.
No! Oh, dang it. Another Scylla is down. The rescue operation doesn't look too good now, does it? Oh, dang it. I think I lost more because I tried to save them.
That's the kind of tactical genius I bring to the table. You'd think I'd be angry about all this, and you'd be right, but what really sealed it was when they shot the dog. The mod named it after me. I had this whole dramatic reveal planned where I'd say, "It was me all along." The dog was narrating the story. But nope, plot twist cancelled. Those who could still walk rescued whoever they realistically could.
Oh, Leonid just died, that's great. The Boomalobs can go wherever they want, I don't care.
The infirmary got full. The worm started vandalism. The boomalobes that got hit by indirect consequences bled out and considerately set stuff on fire.
Where is Llama? How did you make your way over there? Oh, okay, you're breaking stuff over there now. That's really cool. Okay, we can make a run for it now.
If you take your eyes off your pawns for 1 minute, they try to do the thing to themselves that shall not be named.
Llama, for heaven's sake, no. No.
Somewhere among the commotion, Carlos's sister lost to hypothermia. Fate.
Yeah, that's what you get for being naked in winter, idiot.
I had an extensive battle against the mechanics when I tried to have my pawns leave the map, the details of which still piss me off to this day. So I'll spare you the bureaucracy of this failure. Mid-escape, Honketon hit tantrum mode and dug up Zilla 2's corpse. Our reality hit a new beautiful level of surrealism with 2 Zillas existing at the same time, which was both confusing and thematically appropriate. Honketon stayed behind, testing his luck and tempting fate. We had no choice but to leave him. Hypothermia and starvation were already knocking at the door, and they don't wait for an invitation. And so, a chapter ends as it began. The blood machines came at night. They swept through our compound, burning our people with their devil fire. Only few of us escaped. Now, after a harrowing journey, with no friends to turn to, we must build a new home in the wilderness, like our ancestors did. Except worse, because they didn't have me in charge. September 15. Cold, hungry and devastated. After a brisk hike, we set up camp fast. Meanwhile, Honketon broke out of his corpse fetish just in time to get knocked sideways like a cheap mattress. Building around the steam vent took longer than expected, which is impressive because my expectations were already rock bottom. Also, all of our builders got Thanos snapped.
Make the door, please. Done.
So, naturally, I rewarded everyone with unpaid time off. Generous, I know. First of winter, Llama snapped and tried to kill everyone, so we arrested her. Then released her within a minute, worked like a factory reset. I didn't mean to send my emotionally and physically unstable liabilities out hunting. My initial plan was to survive on berries. Winter's plan was to delete 99% of the fruit beans on the map. Great timing. So we took aim with the enthusiasm of a hangover geriatric and enjoyed the fruits of our labor. Raw meat. Nobody had the stability to do chores.
Wait, it's going to our colony. There is a chance these guys and future traders will take down the, I don't know, blaster bots, whatever.
That's what I started banking on. Honketon had 12 hours to survive. We made a quick decision and sent our fastest pawn, Jisan, to save him. Step 1, harvest medicine. Step 2, follow the morbid but impressive breadcrumb path to Honketon. Meanwhile, camp life was thriving. We got a butchering table, cooked on the fire, and received a friendly deadline 3 days before the bug blasters arrived to end it all. Speaking of good news, Jisan went into a daze mid-rescue. He ran in and out of his room like a toddler playing peekaboo with the giant murder worm. I had a feeling his luck wouldn't last, and I was right. He caught mechanites before dying, which is like getting food poisoning at your own funeral. 11 hours later, his soul connected to the great Wi-Fi in the sky.
Yeah, so Jisan is done. That's great.
Low expectations. It's what I'd write on my dating profile. And just like my dates, everyone kept going insane anyway. The hopes I placed on the traders actually paid off.
Yo-ho-ho! Nice!
Against all odds, the plan worked like magic. Our home was best free before the deadline.
There is a fire? I'm not surprised. Wait, is that the last one? Guys, we can go back. They are dead.
December 3rd. Just like returning from a caravan trip as we'd done so many times, we arrived home. But this time, there were no smiling welcomes. Only the still monument of friends who now lived on solely in our memories. The deafening silence was unbearable, and yet, worse still, was the lingering smell of demise. It clung to the walls. A cruel reminder of the hopes and dreams that died here. The dream of leaving this broken world. The dream carried by those who gave their lives under the hands of an incompetent leader. With heavy hearts, we gathered their burdens. We promised ourselves we would finish what they could not. One day, we will leave this place, and when we do, they will live with us, carried forever in our memories.
Oh, they are not going to use this one. Fine. Fine. I didn't even want to use it.
By some miracle, Honketon survived. Jisan had patched him just enough before taking the Uber to Afterlife. All that was left was feeding him. Between burying our fallen heroes and forgetting to eat, we slowly, but delicately, lost all of our animals to mood swings. Except CJ the horse. She ran off somewhere, probably to join a better colony, assuming she can trust humans again. Even after slaughtering all the animals by the power of feeling upset, the crew still found the energy to complain. What my gang lacked in numbers, they made up for in tantrums. Enough to fill a psych ward, but we don't get those in the Rim. We use prison cells instead. Tried and true brain resets. If life is a simulation, and reality only becomes stable after we observe it, then each wave of pain that causes the body to collapse is very real and vivid.
That's lovely, have fun. No, they're not the exploding ones, come on. You know better than that. Oh, it didn't explode yet.
Fibro's Mechanites hit half the colony like a stack of medical bills. Carlos managed to get herself pretty wrecked during one of her murderous episodes against the wildlife. 5 days and a steady stream of breakdowns later, we finally finished burying our friends. Naturally, we honored the dead by shooting a boomalope, which set off the entire herd.
That was maximum respect.
Hopefully we don't need another funeral anytime soon. Our grocery list of negative emotions stretched longer than the Great Famine itself. The wealth graph looked like a middle finger, because I estimated problems bigger than our pile of rubble was ready to defend against. So I drew up plans to rebuild some key walls in stone. Estimated completion time? 1 century.
Nobody in this colony here is having a good time.
I went ahead and installed a mod to satisfy the control freak in me, turning the work tab into adult entertainment for those with specific tastes. After fighting against the horde of numbers, I assigned Dark as the new cook. He immediately had a meltdown. I thought tossing my misbehaving crayon eaters into the jail for a cooldown was a good idea, but that actually turned them into quick repeat offenders, because they got no catharsis from the prison vacation. Did I stop? Of course not. Every raging lunatic looking to do a murder on someone still got the timeout slammer. Then we tried catatonic coma zone for size. I arrested Miskulini to see if she'd snap out of it, just like with other tantrumic conditions. Turns out no. Some traders showed up. The plan was simple. Lower our wealth by investing garbage into defense and people feed. I woke up Lama to deal with it. She did not like that. The controls fought against me and I could not arrest Lama for whatever reason. Nico did all she could to lure Lama away from the traders like some kind of RimWorld matador.
Oh no, she's going out. She's going out. No!
I tried again and couldn't arrest her.
Dang it! No! They're attacking Llama! No, don't hit it, don't hit it, don't hit it. I'll be so mad if my best doctor goes down.
Luckily, Llama was done fighting before I was done screaming.
I'm not stressed, you are stressed. Your negotiator, Carlos janitor cannot talk blah 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 blah, I don't care. So, our donkeys get beaten up all the time. Let's sell those, we don't need animals anymore.
After feeling happy for 5 seconds, Doug went berserk next. The traders were happy to handle it for me.
Has Miskulini been... No, somebody needs to feed her. Carlos, you're alive. Go feed Misku. You could have used that one. Yeah, no, go get a new one. My hands are off the wheel.
December 11th, sickness drove Hunkaton over the edge. First, he verbally kicked everyone already down in the infirmary. Then he sprinted around insulting everyone else, like a vengeful Roomba with a bad motivator. That, in turn, inspired Carlos into smashing anything within reach. Hunkaton kept tailing her, barraging her with more insults, fueling the ire. New quest, tempting reward. Too bad my peerless lunkheads were too busy fistfighting in the infirmary. Cooking alone was a full-time job for my moodily compromised group.
Somebody needs a medical treatment. Oh, we're back to fighting, that's great.
That's when I noticed the real cost of the murder worm arc. Not just lives, but limbs as well. What happened next couldn't have been timed better.
No! Wait, Dark, your ex is here. Kazuko. A group of outlanders from Rainer have arrived nearby. Okay, they are attacking immediately, that's bad. Yo, we can't take them on. There's no way. We don't have traps. There's more people than we have here. Actually, that's equal, but some of these folks don't count if you ask me.
Not to mention, our wall was broken as well. Learn from past failures, I had everyone throw on whatever armor we had. That wasted just enough time for the open back door to almost cost us the colony. I can never win when it comes to making decisions, can I?
Please. Close, 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 close. Yes! Eat that, idiots!
We are a society with electricity, refrigeration, and indoor plumbing. But solar flares still make us superstitious. Bad omens, I say. The raiders mostly ignored our kill bugs for no adequately explored reasons.
Where the frick is this guy going?
I tried to be clever by parking Llama away from the fight. That just isolated her, and some pistol moron ran across the map to beat her with it. Another Batman seemed to have the same plan, but Carlos intercepted and put some plot holes into that script.
You raiders make me sick. Or it might be the food poisoning.
My competence reared its special head when I found Sin not part of the fight.
Okay, Dark's down. That's great. Carlos is having a good time. Llama is still fine.
Meanwhile, Kazuko had a plan of her own.
No!
Yup, she had an incendiary launcher. It pained me to leave the books to burn, but I wasn't ready to hold more funerals over some brochures, so Sin went to help with the fight while Kazuko was roasting our library. No idea what this little poopstain's plan was, but he got an express ticket to the other side. Carlos untangled Llama's situation, and that's when the enemies decided they'd had enough. We let the enemies go and patched ourselves up. Sin had no sway on the outcome of the fight. I accept half the accountability. For her crimes against our furniture, we made an exception for Kazuko.
We got an incendiary launcher, by the way. That's gonna be great.
Doug did not care that his ex got dropped like a dog turd on a sidewalk. Yeah, that checks out.
It's so hard to take care of anything. Oh, there's more fire. That's great. Oh, the book is still alive.
At least we saved one book. Turns out we still had a boomalope left. Nico solved that oversight. She got catharsis. I got a fire. I let Nico drag herself to the infirmary as punishment. Starvation got into a situationship with us. The receipt said 70 days until we'd be back. Well tipped thanks to the base turning into a bonfire. Solar flare finally ended and power came back on. Some time ago, I switched to a biphasic sleep schedule. I learned this trick from Carlos's dream. Speaking of, Carlos went into a daze. Llama ate raw food, but did not complain. I was confused and proud. Colony mood wasn't all red anymore. Small victories. We lost components to botched construction. Really hammered in the fact that we didn't have our builders anymore.
Those are rare, Misk. We need to be careful.
Meals weren't happening either, so I lowered the cooking requirements. That's right, we didn't have proper cooks anymore either. Again, December 14th, Carlos and Honketon had a relationship drama. The rejected proposal hit harder than being widowed, but they made up soon after that. Then Doug went berserk and attacked Carlos. His attempts at violence came back at him like a retrograde ejaculation.
I have many regrets right now. Oh, we lost such a good crafter and a cook. Wow. Yeah, that cuts deep.
Since Carlos failed to hold back, I made her clean up the mess as punishment. The colony's collective bad vibes reminded Misko of her husband, at least that's my headcanon, and she decided to cosplay as furniture for several days. Honketon started stress eating. Sin took care of Dark's funeral. He's been the only one keeping the lights on around here, figuratively, since most of the actual lights don't work.
Nah. Rest well, Dark. It was an honor to serve with you.
The tantrum avalanche time continued. It was Llama's turn. She destroyed the granite chess table. Excellent quality, by the way, and that stung a bit.
Okay, good job, Llama. Good job.
A lot of rebuilding wasn't happening because we were out of components. Luckily, there were some to be mined south of the base. Unluckily, Nico was the miner, and she immediately picked a fight with Llama. The infirmary keeps doubling as our UFC octagon, which is convenient, but it also means the components aren't coming anytime soon. The year 5504 kicked off with a power outage. Apparently, we didn't have enough working brain cells to keep our generators fueled. Not willing to replay a mistake, we started repairing the broken walls. Bold strategy, I know. Actually fixing the walls. Really pushing the meta.
Wait, why are you guys coming over? Or did you just decide you want to live in the trap gauntlet? Okay, you do you. No judgment here. This is judgment-free zone.
Carlos drank the catatonic. The base was finally cleared of corpses, then a boomalope went insane for no reason. Sin went out to deal with it, but I remembered too late that he had a shattered femur and couldn't kite. The boomalope made it into the compound. The one time I didn't overreact. Just as Misku returned from Coma Land, Llama tagged in. Looking at Corpse Lake made me feel better. It's like a spa day, but cheaper. Then we ignored a flash storm and a quest. Miskulini became an insult sprinkler, Nico took an extended nap, Honketon thought it was a good idea and joined her. And that left me with only 2 semi-functional pawns. It was just the best.
It's good that they are knocked out, so they can't really complain about the raw meat.
Whenever traders showed up, we kept lowering our wealth by dumping garbage on them. After buying food, medicine, or defense, we just handed over anything else for that sweet relation bonus. The Great Coma arc lasted only 3 days. Even with this good news, I dared not hope. And it's a good thing I didn't. The very next day, Misku entered a psychotic state.
I guess we enjoyed ourselves for a little too long there.
I forgot to mention this, but our farmers got wormed too. Medicine was running out and we couldn't grow more. Nature could provide, but leaving the base without someone flipping out was a luxury.
Need a research bench. I'm trying!
I wanted medicine not just to stockpile, but to fix Sin's 3D femur puzzle. A grizzly bear had some ideas. It felt good to release some frustrations.
That was fine. That was fire. Speaking of which, there's fire.
April May 10th, after gathering enough medicine and performing the operation, turns out giving Sin a wooden foot did not fix the femur confetti. Go figure.
Gosh darn it, that was certainly a choice among the things that I could have done. No. No way. They will prepare for a while, then attack. And how many is this? Look, it's 10 of them. Schedule. Security.
I planned to rebuild the traps before the next raid. Did that happen? No. The walls weren't even repaired yet. And those are kind of important if you're not actively doing an any-person speedrun into extinction.
This has been way overdue.
No fancy strategies that time, just good old firing line and do your best. Carlos immediately vaulted the fence and went feral on the raiders. They weren't ready for medieval energy in a modern colony.
Yes, I'm so glad Carlos is here. They gave up! Yes, keep shooting. Ooh! Who's the brainiac with the big weapon again? That's Llama. Llama, how about you stop? Please, and thank you.
Carlos chased down the survivors, caught one, and also successfully lost an arm. Trade-offs. Meanwhile, my fire field strategy was working, a little too well. But hey, silver lining. A psychic suit blanketed the colony, a mood buff cheaper than alcohol. Carlos stood back up, immediately tried to chase another guy, and immediately collapsed again. Misku had to drag her back. The fire was working overtime and flattened Nico. And in the most questionable rescue of all time, Misku hauled Carlos straight through the flames, and dropped her the second she caught fire. It's like second-hand Darwinism. I micromanaged like my life depended on it, which it didn't, but they sort of did. And somehow kept everyone alive through the aftermath of my brilliant planning. Naturally, our doctor started treating herself to some snacks instead of treating the patients. April May 10th was a very long day. Our reward for all the pain and surprise amputations. 3 potential recruits. Worth it. Rain came in and did its usual delete fire thing. Infections also showed up, because that's just the immune system's way of flipping you off. I'll only mention them if they subtract someone from the Rim population. Just assume our medical policy is, XP is worth more than prevention. We needed the new recruits badly, so I forced whoever was conscious to feed them. Thanks to Miskulini reading a book, we got the sterile materials research for free. Didn't know that was possible. To keep things running, I had to manually micromanage meals for both patients and prisoners. Big fun. The next set of traders had an EMP launcher, which I bought immediately. I figured it'd be perfect for the inevitable mech raid. Soon after, Honketon threw a tantrum. It was like fate.
Are you breaking the EMP launcher? Yeah, you are. We just bought that. Okay, good job, Honketon.
Just in case anyone forgot, Vibro's Mechanite showed up last December and decided to stick around like that one house guest who just needs a place for the night. By April May 12th, they were still squatting in our bodies rent-free, and they'd be freeloading a while longer. The next day, ChemLab was rebuilt. For the greater mood, I placed my hopes on smoke leaf joints and good old-fashioned denial. Carlos threw a party to boost recreation and social batteries, and we finally fixed the 3rd prison cell. That evening, one prisoner got some unearned parole thanks to a farming-related accident. I guess Misku thought the prison cell door was in the way of her work. Day 14. Rainer's raiders came knocking.
No way! We just fixed everybody up!
I panicked because thanks to the previous raid, we had more missing limbs than a Lego clearance bin. But this time, it was just 4 people. Pretty disappointing, honestly. Before the fight, I had everyone fix the walls as much as possible through the forced labor of love. Community bonding at gunpoint. Very wholesome. The battle didn't last long. Carlos took a bullet graze and immediately went full anime protagonist mode. The raiders took one look at the one-armed lunatic charging at them screaming bloody murder and said, nope. She charged after the fleeing bandits and stopped one in their tracks, and mugged them for some real medicine. Good deal. One survivor was captured, but she breathed like a horror movie phone call and moved slower than a dial-up internet, so not exactly a keeper. Last day of spring, Misku went to mourn at the graves and got a mood hit from the corpses standing in the lake, another design feature. And I realized something important. The widow tantrum arc was finally over, which meant, naturally, someone got inspired to start the next one.
Marriage, you say? Honketon and Carlos! Heck yeah!
Summer of 5504 kicked off with Nico wandering around in a psychotic state. Good start, and power outages were still a thing. Day 3, we finally cleaned up the corpses. Misku celebrated by going to the graves for another bonus mood debuff. And I forgot to keep track of our quests. But don't worry, I wasn't doing them anyway. Day 5, a prisoner joined us. Melee Int, a 61-year-old brawler slash dancer with a great memory. Her resume basically said, we'll stab you and then remember it for the rest of your life. Shortly after, Minecons Craft joined us too, mining main, with a side of construction and crafting, which was perfect since half our base looked like it had survived a tornado made of termites. Sorry, I meant G-Box 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Welcome back to the colony, dude.
Meanwhile, I realized I couldn't install Carlos's new wooden hand because her entire arm was MIA. One day, I too will learn anatomy.
Who else was missing stuff?
Miskulini at least got a peg leg, which meant she could now go around begging like a boss. Progress. Then Buildcraft joined. We had 2 builders, finally. Again.
The walls are coming back up. Stuff is getting fixed. This is what we've been waiting for.
Low food notification, nothing new. Our answer? Upcoming grocery shopping. By day 6, Misku was wandering around in confusion because she woke up too early from anesthesia. So, just like a normal Tuesday, I've never seen a charge rifle before. I bought it without a second thought. Impulse buying weapons always works out.
Okay, that was bad. No, what the heck?
I also grabbed a shield belt, which went to Carlos. Hopefully, she'll now get to keep the rest of her limbs. I'm pretty sure this won't work, but I placed a floodlight behind our shooting line, hoping that the light would blind our adversaries. The next day, a mad boar attacked. G-Pro got dinged, but Melee Int turned the hog into discount bacon. The next day, I finally discovered tooltips. Nico threw a party, but Buildcraft didn't attend because he was naked and ashamed. Relatable.
Why don't we have pants? Let's put it up there. Yep. Oh, okay. Yep, I was expecting that. Have fun in your room. Freaking introverts, am I right? Wild boar self-tamed. Lovely.
Which reminded me, it was time to start taming some explosive cows again. The generators were thirsty. I gave the charge rifle to Nico since she was our best shot, and it was time to see that thing in action.
Yeah, kinda cool. Nice, that's so freaking cool. He's going for the berries instead of the food over here, but that's his choice and I respect it. Not again, bro!
Day 9. Infestation time. The bugs didn't even wait. They started immediately nibbling 2 walls like styrofoam. Unwilling to replay past mistakes, I had everybody armor up, then stacked against the choke point. Our fastest pawn, meaning the one who still had both legs, was tasked to lure the bugs in. Nico, our resident miner, began the operation Catch a Predator by arousing their ire with her charge rifle. The pesky portable-sized mandible menaces managed to get a hit in.
Run! Oh, run, 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 run! Yeah! Are you just gonna turn your back to them? Okay, good. I want llama over here. Better angle. Oh, they're slowing down. Ooh, look how freaking clean this was. Imagine I did that the last time when Siladin 3 lost her eye and stuff, and Rusty's nose was smashed as well. Yeah, Things could have been so much better. Freaking look at that!
August 10th. After successfully repelling the insects, we immediately returned to our natural state, food poisoning and general chaos.
Okay guys, I think it's safe to say we made it through the worst. I hope I didn't just jinx it.
The machining table was finally back online. I wanted to make prosthetics for the team, or maybe an EMP launcher, but that would require components, and we don't do those here. At least the Weltcraft didn't make it look like Randy's next punch would cave our skulls in. That's progress. Day 12. I was peacefully strip mining some steel when a mutant cow decided that friendship was a crime punishable by death. Our workshop and warehouse walls finally got fixed, so naturally Randy wanted to test them with a huge pack of rabid squirrels. We panic fixed the firing range barriers, not because it mattered, but because it made me feel productive. Our melee fighters stood out front while the squirrels learned about natural selection the hard way. They got just far enough to become fertilizer and dinner. The next day, Randy balanced the scales by giving us some herbal medicine. He give it, he take it away, but mostly at random. And with a senseless chuckle. Melee Int earned a promotion, a new name. Prince Perkele, a noble title for someone whose job is stab them before they stab you. Llama made more room for raw meat, then performed a peg leg installation on Buildcraft. After a quick nap to recover from being disassembled, he finished expanding the firing range. 2nd of September, a small social fight broke out to keep things interesting. We also started taming the wild boars that had been living rent-free in our compound. Strong start to my favorite season. Mild weather, casual violence, and pigs. Next day, I accepted a quest for a charged lance. The odds of success were low, but I had to know what that thing does. We gave a slot some exposure therapy to ammunition, Hunketon threw a party, and Craft the Builder got a new name, Zilladin 4. Welcome back. Classic Ketchutopia reincarnation through poor naming conventions at its finest. September 4th. Mad Hair Day. Some rabbits went insane. Naturally, Llama was outside during all of this for reasons unknown. We rushed to help, but arguably did more damage ourselves than the hairs could have done. The last bunny late to the party got a ceremonial welcome, and I got a small catharsis out of it. Next, we got a gift from the heavens themselves. Nico's father crash landed right in our yard. Alive, healthy, and apparently a gardening savant. We patched him up and showed him to the guest suite. Nico was so happy that she had a social fight about it. At this point, fist fights are basically our bonding activity. While that was a thing, some donkeys joined too. What a weird day. Welcome back, Lydia. On the back end, I hit my T-Mug and ruined my mousepad.
It's done really well. The long dark...
Oi! September 5th, Nico snapped again and went around verbally violating everyone. A real people person. September 6th, still no steal. But we finally rearmed the entire gauntlet for the first time since the Murder Worm arc, which was almost a year ago, with 7 days ahead of schedule. Spectacular. Our closet was always full, and switching between gears took forever, so I combined the armory and the closet into one mega room. Functionally efficient, aesthetically cursed. We began carpeting over the burnt rec room floors, and it was about darn time. It'll look like a jigsaw puzzle made by a drunk interior designer, but that's nothing new. While I was on a roll, I ordered the warehouse floor redone in stone to make it less flammable.
Wait, did you really? Oh, our boar got hit by lightning. Luckily it's a rainy thunderstorm. But G-Box isn't leaving anything to chance. He has seen enough.
Steel was running out faster than my patience during Bethesda load screens. We tore down a perfectly good tool cabinet to get some more, and invested what we got into getting our smelter back up and running, which could be then used to get more steel out of the leftover slags from all the things Randy had thrown at us. At least we struck components while strip mining, so I wasn't about to complain. I mean, I was, but not about that specifically. Day 8, Murder research complete, probably from a book, or divine inspiration. I don't ask questions anymore. At another point in time, I learned that I can't make my pawns pick up gold. I wanted to place it on the graves as medals of honor. Most of all, I wanted to give Dark a medal for his brainery. But it's okay, I have more plans. Nico's father finally saw it fit to join us. We named him after a viewer, Patsy Knight. Welcome to the crew. Not long after, a wanderer joined us. CJ, Zilla's sister. Another horse this time? Happy to have you with us. Yeah, I installed a mod that allows me to change their appearance. Flashbang warning. I made a blueprint to showcase how I've planned the future layout of the colony. Marvelous work, if I do say so myself, which I do, because no one else will. With everything affordable fixed, we finally resumed work on the town square. Speaking of things we can or can't fix, we struck steel. The very next day, we rebuilt the electric smelter.
Finally! Okay, smelt metal from slag forever.
I also did my best setting up orders to smelt all crappy gear into materials. Time will tell if I swear-worded it up. To celebrate this happy occasion, Misku threw a party. Things were definitely, finally, looking up for Ketchutopia. Shouldn't have said that, couldn't have thought that. CJ started hurling insults mid-gathering. And before I could set my eyeballs on the situation, she had a quick fight with Scylla about it, which de-escalated the tantrum. The fight started because CJ insulted Scylla's brother, which means she insulted her own brother. CJ just joined and already committed social arson towards her sister. Siblings, am I right? September 15. Mech problems. Again, a chunk of an ancient problem crash-landed nearby. Kills plants in an expanding circle. Big deal. It's the last day of fall anyway. It came with some protectrons though. We needed to strategize. None of my folks were fast enough to play the bait, with or without both legs. The plan was to turtle and build a mortar, except I couldn't figure out how to make a reinforced barrel. Had to cheat and look it up online. Apparently we can make all the delicate things like cochlear implants, spaceships and such, but a tube is too much. I learned two things though. 1, I'm stupid, and 2, I could have shred mechanoids into steel with the machining table ages ago. You live, you learn, and then you lol. That's how we roll.
I'm such a massive idiot. That's all I can say. I can probably say more, but I can't think of any.
I kept expressing professional amounts of sorrow for my lack of barrels that were reinforced. Randy heard my cries and delivered divine pity. A mortar carried by raiders. Like, here, have one. Now earn it. I sent my crew out to pick a fight before they wasted their shells on us. They allowed us to flatten 3 people before they connected the dots. We took down their fastest guys with passable skirmish tactics. And let the slower ones figure it out in the trap gauntlet. We got an intact mortar, a barrel for another one, 3 prisoners, and while I wasn't watching, our super duper high-tech research bench got fixed.
Oh, unwavering loyalty again! 2 of them!
The one we could have recruited was 10 pounds of annoying in a 5-pound bag.
Dang it, we didn't get anybody from this.
My folks were too lazy to haul mortar cells from the storage, so I had to build a granite shelf closer to the fireworks tube. Nico, our best shot, tested the mortar. Her first shot almost hit.
Yeah! Eat that, idiots! These stupid things have no idea what's happening. Bullseye. We don't even have to leave. Because those sighters, they are freaking fast, and I can't remember just how many limbs we are missing here. No, we missed. We don't have that many of them. Nico, get yourself together.
I had Miskulini take over so Nico could get a break.
Dang it! Close.
And just like that, we were out of shells, so we started making more, and immediately another siege arrived. Randy over-delivers.
Yo! Another ooh la la la! 15 humies! Are they attacking right away? I didn't read. Why didn't I read that? No big deal. What's gonna happen with these 15 raiders? I wonder. We're gonna find out next time. Is this a cliffhanger? Yes. You're a stinker. Yes.
This group's collective brain power was a little higher than the last. Just the tickle of a bullet was enough to send them buttered on our trail. The folks laying siege in the rim must be highly trained. Since gunfire aimed at their well-being barely registered as a mild inconvenience, we hid behind our walls, and they ran into our trap maze like lemmings with ambition. Some of them escaped, some of them didn't, but we made sure to see one of them out with extreme hospitality. Our uninvited guests enjoyed their deluxe forever spa day at Corpse Lake, and thanks to Prince Perkele accidentally jabbing a guy in the kidney while patching him up without medicine, we got 2 new prisoners instead of 3. I guess that one's mostly on me. Soon after, a wanderer begged to join us. G-Box's brother. G-Box asked me to name him Typhoid. I didn't ask. The name sounded like an organ with speech impediment. I was hoping some enemies would run into the crash ship and the Securitrons. That, of course, didn't happen, but instead, our newest recruit got mouthed by them while I wasn't looking. Things looked bleak for a moment, but Honketon managed to get to him while avoiding the human resource reducers. Too bad he didn't bring enough medicine to do a proper job. He carried Typhoid back, where Llama met them halfway. I had Honketon stand there and wait as punishment, then made him carry Typhoid again, after Llama was done cleaning up after them. And Llama's bio said she can't do dumb labor. Typhoid survived, but lost an eye. What a freaky way to start his life in our slice of disaster. Next, I finally got proof that the colonists were the ones that made the snowmen, and they didn't just magically appear.
This is exciting stuff, guys. I'm waiting, Carlos. Oh yeah. She's one-armed, so this might take a while. Okay, it just appeared. Very cool.
With that groundbreaking discovery done, we put our latest gift into good use and fired all 3 mortars in unison.
Yeah!
The bad planned Wi-Fi trash can blew up beautifully. While the murder Roombas made their way over to have a wee chat about what just happened, one of our recently tamed hares decided to turn himself into dinner by sprinting into the trap maze. I had our melee guys ready to go ham on the pain parts. Was really looking forward to it too, but only the 4x4 made it past the front door, and it collapsed the instant someone scratched its paint job. Drama queen! Since things were running smoothly, I meditated at the corpse lake, as one does, and decided to get back to the Charles Lance quest. Another thing I was excited about, new sleeping bags ready to go. We almost left, but then I realized the trip would take longer than we had time, so I just quick-scoped that quest off my to-do list and never thought of it again. December 5th, we had a new strategy. Instead of turning our prisoners into budget horror movie props, we try making friends through catch and release. Maybe one day, our neighbors will send trade caravans instead of death squads.
I don't like it that he goes through our living quarters, but it is what it is, I guess.
Oh, and prisoner Robillard kept dazing in his cell. Apparently, he needs a little something to wake him up inside. Well, good news, Robillard. You've got nothing but time to reflect. Patsy Knight described Miskulini as a breathtaking horn, and that's how they became lovers. Amazing stuff. While I was distracted, someone fixed the second high-tech mega research bench. Science, finds a way. We got to go 6 days without an attack. 9 humies this time. I'll spare you the details that don't exist. They didn't make it past the traps. I hope Carlos enjoys putting down cowards as much as I enjoy watching her do it.
Taste my steel, cowards.
We got 2 new prisoners, one we wanted and one we're returning. My cadaver collection was looking pretty healthy. For a moment, I considered building a giant freezer just to see how many I can collect. When the insects decide to drop by next time, we got a choke point ready. I call it Bug Butchery. Open to better names, but that one's sticking on me. Just because fleeing enemies annoy the heck out of me. We slapped a new door next to the gauntlet, so we can easily cut off anyone's hopes and dreams.
Goats? Yeah, that might as well happen.
Sometime later, a misogynistic drone passed overhead. Patsy Knight immediately got inspired to move faster. Correlation unclear. December 11. We finally finished fixing everything up. All of the damage. The wealth crab said so too.
I think with that, we can say the murder worm arc is officially over.
Forcing half the colony to clean eased my anxiety quite a bit. Nico disagreed and locked herself in her room. Pretty layabout. After that, a new recruit. Welcome back, Dogling. Meanwhile, G-Box snapped and dug up Jisun's corpse. Apparently, it was caused by malnutrition. Don't ask me how hunger translates to necromancy. I just failed to run this show. After G-Box finished reminiscing, CJ tucked Jisun back in. I got sick of trying to keep the town square clean with all the animals polluting it with their existence. So we built them a new pasture near the fields. Out of sight, out of smell. And that was year 5504. Pretty uneventful by RimWorld standards. Let's hope it stays that way, so we can finally leave this dump. Year 6 began, shockingly, with a spring. New mod. Show hair with hats. Finally, I can draw people without playing Guess Who's Bald. Looks better too. Small victories. The museum's walls were finally fixed. They'd been looking rough for months, and I was starting to think my builders had unionized. My dumbass didn't realize I had to tell the universe that the abandoned structure in my yard was mine. Well, squatters' rights are BS anyway. That Knight was a certified bunker, and very much lacking a melee weapon. So, naturally, we went all out and made him a uranium spear. Because if you're going to stab someone, you might as well cause long-term health effects. Speaking of, he and Misu got engaged. A uranium spear and a proposal. A man's romance. his life got enriched. I assume this is the peace before the storm part of every RimWorld arc. To celebrate and to prepare, we put a lot of slot on the table. Following that, White Ridge requested 7 longswords of normal plus quality, and for a good value. They didn't specify the material, so naturally, we made them out of wood. One of them turned out to be a masterwork. It depicted Honketon losing a game of Hoopstone a year ago. Artistic pettiness, with an exciting color palette of red and red. That night, our guest Hums joined us. It's his name, not a command. Meanwhile, hay had run out, so we expanded the pasture. The animals loved the extra room. Starvation seemed to like it too. In a reasonable response, we sterilized the young and turned the parents into ingredients. Emotional day and delicious. Later, I realized I could have just let the young go instead of neutering them. But when have I ever stopped to think before acting? Why start now? G-Bugs made our first masterwork furniture since the Murderworm arc. And of course, it was an animal bed. At least they were comfy when they lost their balls. Having 2 cooks felt redundant, so we brought back the nutrient paste. I replaced the freezer wall with it, hoping it would insulate. And miraculously, it did. So that's 1 W for team blind guessing. Zilla made our next masterwork, a doormat. For variety, we also forged a uranium mace for Hums. He seemed happy, probably because radiation poisoning makes you feel all warm and tingly inside. Morale was at an all-time high. Ketchutopia was finally evolving from mental asylum to early civilization. Steel, of course, was running out again. I wanted to plate armor everyone, but those things are illegally expensive. April May 5th, multi-analyzer research complete. That unlocked higher tier technology, which I won't use responsibly. It took me 20 minutes to remember to actually build the thing. Efficiency. From there, I renamed Hums after my bro Soma. Blowback operation research got done. We added sandbags in the trap maze to slow the future escape attempts. Then Misku walked into one of our own traps. And right on cue, the butt goblins raided. That's what we call a combo meal. Drop pods rain from the sky all over the place. None inside the compound. Suspiciously merciful. We grouped up by the shortcut, ready to intercept. Because if there's one thing we're good at, it's waiting for someone else to die first. Prince Perkele hunted down the last confused straggler, while Honketon waited patiently for the fight to end so he could rescue Varvara. 2 new prisoners. 1 useful, 1 decorative. Later, Zilla missed a donkey with a bad day from point-blank range. Several times. Almost hit Llama. Not saying she's bad, but let's just say her bullets are afraid of commitment. To celebrate a successful defense, G-Box threw a party. It's looking a lot like a functioning society, and honestly, I was proud.
Guys, why do skeletons not fight each other? Because they don't have the guts. Happy Halloween! Well, not yet, but it's Spooktober anyway. Toot toot.
April May 8th, Robillard could finally wake up, all thanks to our revolutionary rehab program, imprisonment and neglect. Gratefully, he joined the colony. We multiplied the number of doors in the maze, hopefully reducing the number of times our pawns trip over their own traps. Then Randy sent us some flakes, not the snow kind. We released Varvara the Jealous and got no reputation boost. For a moment, I thought, why bother being nice? Then I saw my colonists got happy moodlets out of it. Apparently, kindness is its own reward, Rose. April May 11th, geothermal power research complete. At long last, reliable electricity. Too bad we can't afford it. The next day, we started an outdoor recreation area. If I'm not super lazy, I'll relocate all the facilities around it. And nobody has to complain about boredom ever again. Food shortages persisted. We were basically committing small-scale extinction events every other day just to stay fed. Luckily, new animals kept wandering in to refill the meat buffet. The ecosystem might never recover, but our fridge was looking great. Robillard got a plasteel breach axe. We were out of uranium. Variety is enriching too. We sent a caravan to White Ridge with our premium wooden swords. Of course, that's when another ancient piece of garbage crashed from the orbit. This time, with mood-ruining Wi-Fi for the lads. We shelled it with mortars, badly. Plan was simple. Blow up the pain in the pooper porta potty from a safe distance, then let the traders handle the killdozers. That didn't happen. As if the industrial-grade accident in our backyard wasn't enough, we got hit by a heatwave too. After missing most of our shots, we ran out of shells. I figured that was that. No choice but to risk the limbs of the group. Then, out of nowhere, a notification popped up like a prayer. There was still a shell in the barrel. The disaster stack was gone. The assaultrons marched face first into the gauntlet and got scrapped by the traps. That'll teach them. May 15th, the caravan reached White Ridge. They actually accepted the wooden swords. Honestly, pretty good deal. Something felt wrong. We just went through an entire season without a fist fight. Whatever Randy's cooking, I'll be ready.
Summer has begun, and it will be the best summer ever!
Or so I thought. Honketon taught me a life-changing strategy. Mark berry bushes as a farm zone, turn off sowing, and your pawns will automatically harvest the berries and trees inside. Free food, free wood, zero effort. This is how you start a summer. August 2nd. This is not how you start a summer. Another anthill erupted like an earthly skin condition. The discount lobsters did not spawn in Buck Butchery. Of course not. 8 or something legs. 0 manners. And the crowning jewel. The caravan was still on the way from destination, imagination. Tatsinite's been rocking a war mask for a while now. I think it's a phase, but at least it's a situationally appropriate one. Right on cue, Tony joined the colony. He was so eager to help, he forgot to bring a weapon. I sent him back to fetch one, and told him to come back after so I wouldn't forget another guy mid-battle. Meanwhile, Llama decided formation discipline was a suggestion and pulled the bugs in early. No choke point, no strategy, just enthusiasm and qualified bonkers holding the front. Shockingly, it worked. The discount scorpions became budget-paced.
That went well.
Learned from this incident, I laid the foundation for Bug Prison. A legend returned to our fold, and near midnight, the caravan finally came home. August 3rd was pretty intense. We took out some competition. An insane boomalope tried to barbecue our gate. Then 17 raiders arrived to finish the job. Except they blew through the walls, avoided our animals with volatile tendencies, and refused to use the front door like civilized psychopaths. We fell back to the range, barely in time.
Oh no! Oh no! CJ is down.
If there's any solace to this, they didn't mind the friendly fire with the tossables. The whole fight was a massive shit show. The melee gang struggled to hand out all the restraining orders.
Freak, 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 freak.
Classic battle cry. Eventually, the raiders checked the balance and realized they were in the red. We didn't chase, just picked up the pieces. Misku might have lost a kidney in the battle. Prince was also missing a lung. It's hard to keep track of who owns which organ in the Lost and Found. It's been a while since the infirmary was this full. Silver lining? Nobody died. Soon after, we found Sin where we forgot him. It's always something. Then Lianiu's vengeful ghost possessed Robin Lad. Good to have you back, pal. Prince wanted to roast Zilla out of pure pain, but gave up soon when she realized Zilla wasn't in the infirmary. Wayfinding wasn't worth the suffering. I tried to have G-Box fix the wall so the game could shut the frick up about animals wandering away. Every few seconds, he sprinted off mid-construction. What a tease. Meanwhile, the animals tracked poop through every hallway on their way from the hitching spot. There was a perfectly fine route outside, but no! Apparently my flaws lacked color. Next, CJ went around practicing verbal warfare. Llama responded by slapping her out of it, then immediately treated her wounds. Honketon swooped in before she changed her mind. I spent a quiet moment at Corpse Lake to calm me down, a treat for myself. August 6th, fabrication research was finished. I chained Typhoid to the smelter until we had enough steel to complete the fabrication bench. He coped by verbally abusing everyone in range. Work-life balance. CJ learned firsthand how to handle that kind of situation. Day 9, bionic replacements finished. The fabrication bench ate all of our advanced components, which we also needed to make the spare parts. We unlocked the future and immediately couldn't afford it. Next plan? Speedrunning advanced fabrication. On the bright side, the research speed was ramping up. We were outthinking our stupidity. Then Randy dropped us some food. Now he's picking my lasagna. White Ridge requested 62 cowboy hats. How about no? Day 10, I beat the big one, and finally started moving stuff around the fun square. Progress was slow, but real. After IED research was finished, we ran out of sandstone for the floors, so I sent a caravan to the next tile over to grab rocks for 4 hours. Worked like a charm. I might have missed my chance to get a charge lance earlier, but a war merchant brought me one, and a sniper rifle. Clearly, the universe felt bad for me. We were near our old world level. After that earlier 17-man raid, I wasn't worried. You're worried! Day 12. G-Bug scared CJ into falling in love with him. Terrifyingly effective. Starvation hit again. My colonists refused to butcher corpses, so I volunteered Sin for the job. Advanced fabrication research finished soon after, and I celebrated by admiring my completely full bookcase. Finally, progress that doesn't starve. A quest for a new worker came in. I promised to handle that next season, which probably means never. Day 14. Another mood-killing orbital dump landed. Same story as last time. We mortared it from a distance until it stopped being a problem. Tatsinite got to poke one of the mechanoids with a uranium spear. Science achieved. Finally. Sadly, I didn't get to see the charge lance in action. Yet. Typhoid had another mental break and started punching furniture. I planned to ignore it, but...
A fire? Wait! Why is there a fire? Oh, Typhoid went in and punched some things. Wow! We even have medicine in there. We are going to lose a lot of stuff. Good job, Typhoid.
Llama arrested him before he had another breakthrough for his indoor cremation experiment. The crew got a little grilled in the superheated air, but I don't think I lost anything I'd remember. For my next trick, I ordered a new, less flammable ChemFuel storage, just in case anyone gets ideas again. By the end of summer, we'd finished deep drilling and the long-range scanner research. Our ticket to more advanced components, which, by the way, were stupidly expensive. Fall 5505. Inspirations were back on the agenda, and the research tab was getting obliterated. For once, everything was fine, which meant it wouldn't be for long. September 3rd, Tatsinite and Miskulini finally got married. Typhoid started wandering in the middle of it, for some reason. Tatsinite made Misku wait at the altar while he finished an important conversation about rocks or something. But eventually, he remembered what a wedding is and marched to the altar to seal the deal. The next day, G-Bro got inspired and proposed to CJ. Forecast, another wedding. The local wildlife helped us prepare for the upcoming celebration by involunteering as the feast. Then came the charge lance field test. It made an impressive. CJ missed roughly every shot that existed before getting bored of trying. Later, I saw it in action again and learned that it had more going for it than just a thump. For some reason, we lost relations with Reina, despite their alleged tendency to move toward natural goodwill, or whatever the frick. I browsed through the newly discovered message tab, but couldn't figure it out. The outdoor farm zones were doing great. We had something 3000 logs deteriorating outside the walls. No wonder farming wasn't happening. We needed packaged survivor meals for the free pawn quest, so I banned everyone from eating real food. Paste or perish. Somewhere in the chaos, a geothermal generator got built. Thanks, mechanoids. Your corpses are powering our future. On September 7th, we finally set out to rescue Gaines. In hindsight, we should have waited longer. You'll see what I mean. Solar Flare sucker punched our power grid, and Sin and Llama became lovers. We struck gold and blast steel by exchanging garbage for those with traders. Soon, we'd be making advanced components like it's an MLM scheme. When the caravan reached the prison camp, my biggest concern? 9 mini turrets. That's why we brought a mortar. No need to get close. Nico didn't get the memo. Honketon started bombarding immediately, aiming to secure a rescue operation. Nico had only 3 hours to leave. The only human defender rushed us. CJ quickscoped him with the charge lance. Told you that thing's impressive. At first, I wasn't going to bring melee fighters to the mission, since having one go against turrets felt pointless. But Tatsinite rushed in and saved Nico without getting a scratch thanks to his shield belt. I decided to take my time with this one and prepared a proper campsite. After that, CJ and Honketon started sniping the turrets. It turned out to be much faster and cost-effective than using mortar. Misku womaned the thing anyway, just for fun. Remember when I said we should have waited a little longer before going on this raid? This is why.
Now this is an awful timing, I'd say. Wow.
I regretted the steroid termite joke. My walls didn't stand a chance. It seemed like there was no interest in taking the shortest path to us though. Instead, the most likely goal was to piss me off. Meanwhile, Honketon and CJ finished clearing up the turrets in the other place and rescued the prisoner. Hypothermia started bullying her immediately. We solved it by looting a corpse. Gaines will hate the tainted clothing, but she'll be crying warmly. Back home, the mechs were busy redecorating the living quarters with explosions. We took this chance to stage an assault on them. I figured the confined spaces would provide enough cover for the melee guys to close the distance quickly. What I didn't plan for was the Scyther. That diplomatic failure unit negotiated Liani out of existence instantly. The termite blast didn't seem to do a lot of damage, but the splash zone was concerning and helped me think of spacing. Soma fought 2 mechs at once like a hero, while the rest gunned down the Hug.exe. The pikers further back sent Carlos and Prince into concussion land. Realizing the incoming unobstructed pain aimed at our way, we fell back, regrouped, and tried again near the armory. Carlos shook off the concussion and helped Soma tie down the pikers. The crew took them out fast. When they charged the termites next, Soma lost his life. Carlos went down again next, but we managed to power down the termite anyway. The last one got surrounded and poked full of holes. In hindsight, I could have used the EMP launcher. I'm so not good at video games I don't even need a difficulty setting. A psychic drone hit immediately after, just to make sure everyone was still miserable. While that disaster was going on back home, the raid team had finished scraping down everything valuable and prepared to take off. September 11th, Typhoid started wandering in sadness again. Our caravan showed massive balls crossing a hostile settlement on their way back. As I began moving everything back to the old infirmary because I gave up on relocating facilities, our caravan returned. Huzzah! Then we got hit by an infestation. Huzzah! Out of the 2 possibilities, the bugs of course picked the hole without the choke point. We used bug butchery to take care of them. It worked, kinda. Some of them just flat out ignored us and went sightseeing round the base. We took one down near the armory and the last one in the living quarters. Then we got an eclipse, as if to insult us. I got to play Fix the freaking thing again. Round penetrating scanner research was completed.
Oh wait, I forgot to destroy destroy the hives.
So we did the same routine again. The protein gremlins were much more compliant this time, except for one little poop stain that went after our solar panel instead. The hive was dealt with properly afterward. Then Carlos decided to try and do a murder on G-Box. Apparently because a colonist was still unburied. Makes sense. Llama did her a quick jail time and she resetted. September 14th. G-Box dug graves for Lianu and Soma. Lianu got a proper burial. Soma didn't. We think the bugs ate him during their tour. A proper Ketchutopia-style ceremony was held. Then, as tradition dictates, we shot something that explodes. Some folks wanted to punch it, even though they had guns. Grief takes many forms. After that, Nico went on an alcohol binge, and hospital beds got researched. We got a new quest, destroy 8 turrets, 1 mortar and 2 humans. Reward, 2 advanced components. I'd rather eat sand. I'm not leaving the base anymore. Next, a walk tried to hunt Carlos. We used it as a stress ball. Then, a cougar tried to eat Tatsinite. It was turned into a punching bag and a team building exercise. And that was fall. Thanks, Randy. I hated it. Winter began with a new recruit, Soma 2. He didn't wait long to start binging on food. Off to a strong start. I deleted our berry bush farms to make everyone focus on actual farming. Didn't help because, you know, winter. A mad turkey reminded everyone that nature still hates us. Then, right after midnight, 6 people got muscle parasites. Not great, but the llama's medical of 19 should speedrun it. And that probably happened because I completely forgot about it. Meanwhile, Typhoid started his daily insult tour, walking into bedrooms just to trash talk people while they slept. Truly a community man. One of our boomalopes starved to death and exploded, because raiders had blown up the barn earlier. No feed, no future, so we released the young and retired the old ones. Problem solved. I call it adaptive farming. Some call it mass slaughter. Tomato, potato.
And that's how we fixed animal starvation. Take notes, class. When animals start starving, get rid of them.
After that, I took a moment to look at the EMP launcher. It taunted me. G-Box and Nico got into a fight. Didn't see it happen, but the bruises told a story. I forgot to connect my new batteries again. Science is about repetition, apparently.
I knew something was amiss here.
We expanded the battery rack using hardware ethically sourced from the prison camp. Carlos wrestled the links and won. There was a scientific breakthrough. You can wear a flak jacket and a flak vest at the same time. Then I started building a great wall of animal safety. My defenses grow like scabs. Gaines was named after a friendly streamer, Astur. Welcome aboard. December 7. Another piece of garbage fell from the sky, poisoning every plant around it. We used every shell of the explosive element we had, and still ran out 1 shot short. Fire shells did nothing. We tried 3 times, because hope dies last. Low on steel, high on desperation. I sent Honketon and CJ to snipe them. The Doom Blenders didn't even notice, until CJ got too close. One of them finally did the math and shot back. And missed. After 2 days of laid-back sniping, the planticide bucket finally exploded.
It's freaking done.
Also, I discovered Llama and Sin were sleeping without a roof, covered in snow. Snow insulates, right? My incompetence truly knows no bounds.
Recon armor research done. Frick yeah.
Soma wouldn't stay in bed, kept getting up and then screaming in pain. Oh yeah, right, the parasites. I noticed a new mood. Luxuriantly comfortable. Probably thanks to the infirmary TV. Either that or the morphine. Later, I realized the hospital AC was gone. I wanted to blame the bugs, but it was most likely the failed move. Ergo, my fault. Again, Typhoid started working on a bionic arm for Carlos. Llama installed it not long later, and the surgery was an easy success. Then a boom rat set the gauntlet on fire. Because why not? The people who couldn't art got inspired to create. Zilla tried wooing Typhoid. White Reach sent yet another unreasonable request for 5 bionic tongues. Sin and Llama got engaged, and we still didn't have enough steel. Business as usual. I named Lydia's child Dragonborn, and marine armor research was finished. My goal was simple. Figure out deep drilling, get materials, build better defenses, like armor, and maybe keep everyone's limbs attached this season. And I would have done it too, probably, if I didn't open my big adorable mouth.
I would really love it if something happened. Did I just say that out loud?
They had termites, again. Of course they did. The mechs walked into the compound like they owned the place. Luckily, they ignored the mortar shells I had lying around. The anticipation was great for the glutes, terrible for morale. I spread everyone out, using doorways for cover, and for once, remembered the EMP launcher. When I tried to send in rest of the melee gang, the shooters blocked the doorways and wouldn't scooch over. Soma and Tatsunite held off the sighters and the termites. Agents supported them with EMPs, and for a while, it looked like we might actually win. Then Tatsunite went down. Soma followed. The sighters, now free, chased Agent through the armory, but Carlos intercepted. The whole gang scrambled to help. And right as the last punch bucket fell, Carlos got hit by friendly fire, went down instantly. At least she kept her new arm. The battle was won. Nobody died. We started collecting the pieces.
Oh, there was another bike man.
That thing was taken down so fast I could tell the crew had some things to work through. The infirmary filled up again.
Spring has begun. We made it.
Year 7 started strong. Llama was missing an ear, the infirmary was too full to fit everyone, and Darkling started binging on alcohol while still bleeding out. Honkathon had to treat him mid-binge like some kind of field bartender. Typhoid and Astor caught infections right as our medicine ran out. Spectacular timing. Biofuel research was finished. Transport parts were my goal. I had some fun ideas, but steel was once again a theoretical material, so everything I wanted in life had to wait. Again. Then, a wedding. Chibro and CJ tied the knot. That's the good news. The bad news is, some genius with cereal box grade medical degree treated Typhoid's infection. We lost him. Our bestest crafter. People couldn't stop hurling insults even at the funeral.
No fighting! Rest in peace, Typhoid. It was an honor to serve with you.
After that, I discovered Soma was buried in our museum. No idea who approved that, but I respect the commitment to interactive exhibits.
Okay, good job guys, that was a hard day.
We burned through a bunch of research. No plan, just coping. Couldn't afford to use any of it anyway, but at least the ideas were free. April May 4th, Randy sent the murder of lynxes. Astor and Nico got caught outside. Turns out you can't outrun the honey badgers of cats, or the consequences of letting your guard down. Raiders from the Macam Covenant happened to be visiting. One booked a suite at Corpse Lake, another at our hospital. We are officially allied now. Trauma bonding. The next day, we got to enjoy our first Scaria infection, a disease that makes you go berserk if untreated.
Awesome.
This time, I made sure Llama handled that one personally. Thanks to never-ending mechanoid donations, we finally built the ground-penetrating scanner, and Nico and Astor celebrated by becoming lovers. I repeat, trauma bonding. April May 8th, Misko got inspired to make a grand sculpture, the first piece of art since the Murderworm arc. I accidentally cancelled it halfway through. Productivity? 0. Emotional damage? Yes. That was me trying to clear prioritized work to send hyper-focused Misko to sleep. Sometime later, Zilla almost died hunting a slot. Randy felt bad and dropped supplies as an apology. Then, an infestation in our battery room. I was right to fear that space since our Industrial Revolution era. Prince got incapacitated when handing out eviction notices. Some of the batteries got chewed, but overall, clean operation. Next, I thought my steel shortage was solved, but the scanner was just too slow. So I sent a crew to mine a nearby tile. The plan was to stay a few days. Then a mech hive disagreed, and a grizzly slapped Soma into reincarnation. We came home early for the funeral. But hey, at least we got some steel. While the caravan catastrophe was unfolding, Zilla bumped out masterwork clothing, and Astor and Nico got engaged. Love and Death, the RimWorld special. From there, we focused on Starflight tech, because at this point, the goal is to leave before Randy learns math. That night, we saw our first Aurora since year 1. It was peaceful. Briefly, then Reno raided. My Great Wall of Animal Safety worked as a deterrent, but they still bombed our living quarters. I tried to be creative and snipe the grenadiers, but opened the door at the worst possible time, and Misku got blown into bits. There was nothing left for us to bury. The recruit we wanted got up mid-treatment and joined the body count. The prisoner we got wasn't a keeper. At least Misku's final sculpture was finished, something to remember her by. After the raid came mood swings. Prince and Zilla tag-teamed Agent. Not like that. Nature attacked us again. First with a mad mare, then with a herd of 7 boomalopes. I couldn't even get through that without minor injuries.
Shoot. Yo, that was too close. Might be.
And because math is hard, there was one boomalope I missed that got the drop on us, and as a cherry on top the Suvat Sunday, CJ and Hunketon, my snipers, kept missing the gasoline cow lying on the ground. On the bright side, a rat and a muffalo volunteered as dinner. That was spring. It was awful. This is the bane I was looking for.
And summer has begun!
The sunny season started off easy. We built a chess club, complete with masterwork chess table, and a couple of chairs so artistic they could probably critique themselves. G-Box and Zilladin weren't done blessing the colony. They cranked out a few more masterworks just to show off. I realized leaving leather furniture outside to rot was stupid, so it got moved back in to amp up the rec room. Progress was smooth. We researched Starflight sensors and an AI to steer the ship while the crew sleeps. The ground-penetrating scanner found plasteel. No idea where, since I was too distracted to check it right then. Randy, in his benevolence, dropped us some rice and steel, and Abracadabra offered information on a Persona core. The golden ticket off this rock. There was more info behind it, but it was locked behind a phone call. Morale was high, except for Tatsy Knight, who took some unpaid time off to miss his dear departed wife. Following advice from a YouTube comment, I'm focusing on wrapping my crew in armor before I steer this wagon into the next disaster. Last time was a haunting failure, but I got tired of sitting on my thumbs and sent out another mining squad anyway. It's always steel. They decided to nap between tiles on a 1-hour trip. Pretty sure it was just to piss me off. August 6th. Upon arrival, I think I saw bison for the first time ever. We set up camp and started tearing down everything that looked metallic, walls, furniture and whatnot. Estimated haul 500 plus steel. Sometime meanwhile, we finished researching crypto sleep caskets. Perfect timing. I'd have loved to sleep through what happened next. The mech hive noticed we were having fun and decided to fix that. Before we could even start screaming, Reno sent 9 idiots to raid home base. The mining crew scrambled back while I screamed into the void. The raiders had tunnelers. Of course they did. They finished headbutting through the walls right as our caravan returned. But we had cover. They didn't. I also learned that we needed more doors. For the dummies in the back, doors equal more pew-pew holes. The failed infirmary finally justified its existence when Prince hit there to flank the maidenless beaches. Meanwhile, Agent ended the wall fornicator's reign of vandalism in the living quarters. Marine armor impressed the heck out of me. Prince tanked so many bullets it made me reconsider fashion. Unfortunately, she still caught a bullet to the brain mid-retreat and became a savant. Couldn't speak anymore, or some such nonsense. I'm not entirely sure. Just as she was charging back into the fray, probably drooling, the enemies fled. 3 new potential recruits checked into our guest suites. Happy days. The caravan didn't even make it inside the walls before the fight was over. Peace returned to Ketchutopia. Nico threw a tantrum and destroyed an excellent bison wood duster. I happily traded that for more peace. Darkling went on an Ambrosia binge, then got a free brain reset from Llama. Releasing one of our older unwanted prisoners somehow improved the relations this time. The quests were getting ridiculous, and I was ignoring them with gusto. Prince, despite allegedly losing the ability to speak, could still technically handle wardening. or I still don't get it. Darkling kept things interesting by trying to tank the colony's KD ratio. He chased G-Bugs across the whole base. Llama fixed him. He then later tried to kill the Wrangler taking care of him, but gave up thanks to the power of Peekaboo and somehow got happier for it. I tested whether rivals could improve relations through wardening. Turns out they can. I got bored of micromanaging that experiment pretty quickly. Tatsunite gave up on the colony halfway through Llama's wedding. We had to cancel it because Llama needed to put him in a timeout, because there was no way I was letting him waltz off with a uranium spear and a shield belt. He had his own honeymoon psychotically wandering in his cell. The psychic drone screaming directly into our boys' brains did not, shockingly, improve morale. Randy celebrated peace by dropping 7 face masks for no reason. Not long after, Llama and Sin finally got married. Nico and Astur followed soon after. Though Nico got the Tatsunite treatment because Astur made sure to finish whatever it was that kept him from stepping on the altar. Ripley joined the colony and got molded into Lianu. A few inspirations popped up across the board. It was the calmest stretch we'd had in years. Naturally, it couldn't last.
Prison break? Oh no. Oh no.
The 3 prisoners staged a prison break. Tatsunite was among them. All that accomplished was lowering the recruitment pool by 1. Even though I told them to handle the situation carefully, they delicately beat an escapee into obituary filler. On the bright side, the beatings helped Tatsunite shake off his psychotic wandering episode. Being treated like a bongo drum probably helped. After that, Agent got inspired to cut someone open, and the latest version of Lianu turned out greedy, so I threw some valuable garbage into his room and he loved it. The next day, another planticide bucket landed with its groupies. We sniped that smelly stack out of existence again, while those without rifles ran interference on the fires. Carlos came out of it inspired, probably from the fumes. For my next plan, I needed a lot of bricks, and shockingly, steel, so I turned the workshop into a sweatshop. That inspired Tatsunite to get creative. He's not even good at it, he'd just literally do anything else. Later, Stark joined the colony. A quick health check revealed CJ had shot off her right arm. Honketon suggested we finish the job. Stark got molded into Soma, who immediately went into a go-juice withdrawal days. And, after a few self-reports about his table manners, he went back to prison for some cognitive behavioral timeout.
Hair self-tamed. Nice! Dinner!
CJ was super inspired to help. Tatsunite accepted our brainwash arguments and rejoined. Then a walk hunted our llama. We overreacted because we've learned not to trust plushies. Then the rats went insane. Most helpfully, they speedran their existence into traps. Except one that shooed Honketon into an abstract blood fountain. Some minutes later, lightning set our fields on fire. Carlos took it personally and intimidated the flames into submission with an axe. Then blight hit our cotton. Randy was clearly in his agricultural terrorism phase.
Tatsunite, what's eating you, my friend? Oh, your wife is dead. Get over it.
Soma was still working hard on his recovery. A few inspirations popped up across the board and the mood lifted again. September 9th, a land stream struck again, and because Randy doesn't believe in pacing, 17 of our muffalos got plague. Naturally, the basement crabs disrespected my designs and hung out outside the choke point. We tried the traditional way, but some of them found eating through my wind turbines more productive. This time, I didn't forget to clean up afterward. Roved. After the shrimp disaster, life settled back into its usual brand of mediocrity. Llama got inspired to recruit someone. No idea who, but points for that enthusiasm. A couple of muffalos died of plague. Didn't care. We had plenty. September 12th. After 5 days in prison, Soma was clean and back to work for the first time ever. The next day, Tatsunite finally got over his wife. Took him long enough. That's 2 less people crying in the corner. Progress. We traded a lot of valuables for stuff that could actually stop us from dying. This stretch of calm was the great age of research. Johnson Tanaka Drive, Go Juice production, Smoke Pop packs, fire foam, water mills. All the things I will absolutely forget exist when I need them the most. By the time we wrapped up with rocket swarm launchers, we'd research everything. Literally everything.
I don't know what song that is.
We found some buried steel veins. At first, I was confused. Then I realized I could see them by pointing the ghost of deep drills past at the ground. Science. Drilling fixed our steel sorted so well that I made 2 more drills and started tapping uranium and blast steel veins.
Hey bro, if you get the drill done, that would make me so happy. I don't get to have nice things, do I?
A group of lumpy horses joined us. Great, more mouths to feed. Our hungry pen animals started complaining again. You already know my answer. Eventually, I realized I could just let them out to graze instead of retiring them. Even the squatting boom rat managed to die of malnutrition. Another case of second-hand Darwinism.
Ooh, meteorite jade. Very cool. It landed on a boomalope too. What were the chances?
Then Randy took a dump on our yard. It radiated pure mood ruin for the plants. Precipitation set my batteries on fire. I didn't know what precipitation meant, but I do now. I moved them indoors and pretended that was the plan all along. Then we got a psychic suit for the ladies and finished sniping the defoliator ship until it exploded.
Another quest expired. Oh no. Anyway.
December 7th, we finished putting together a great wall. The first section went up September 11th. No more granite left in our slice of hell, so we finished with slate. That's where all the bricks went.
Done.
Then we saw the return of the muscle parasites, with a vengeance. I ignored it this time too. That night threw a party, Randy sent us chocolate, the raccoon volunteered as dinner, the Maycam Covenant even dropped us a gift, Glitter World medicine. At least this time it wasn't posthumous. Everything was going well enough for me to grow suspicious. I assumed this was the peace before the storm segment of the anime. And I was right, the bus stop people raided. They came at us from multiple angles, which is just a nice way of saying there was more than one group. I did this cool thing where I made everyone stay in the armory, instead of running as far away from usefulness as humanly possible. They didn't have tunnelers, so they just ran straight into our traps until they'd had their fill. As I was about to bully the survivors, I remembered there was another group coming in. Second verse same as the first. I put the melee guys in play, so they could put them in a hearse. Then I remembered there was still another group. Everyone turned back, except I forgot Prince was still in chase gear. She got slapped so hard, we are officially calling it the Gluteus Penis Maximussi event, and it wasn't just the pooper pain. She got kidnapped too. Nico gave chase but couldn't catch up. That really sucked. Prince was wearing the best armor. Like, keep the old lady, sure, but at least have the decency to leave the armor behind. We'd been pouring time and resources into wrapping everyone in marine armor for ages. Ketchu will remember this. At least we got a new recruit. Another greedy one, but whatever. Beggars can't be choosers. Last day of winter, we built a home theater as a gift for the crew. Happy Frieza Day! Then the cables that replaced the batteries burst out in flames. I'd used the normal cables instead of the hidden ones, just to save up one steel each, when it really wasn't necessary. The electrical explosion emptied our batteries, and just when I thought that was it, a solar flare finished the job.
Oh, spring has begun! Spring of 5507. That means we have survived 7 years and this will be year 8. Good job, us.
The year started calmly. Zilla pushed out masterworks like she was speedrunning self-esteem, and G-Bro was very inspired to expand the workshop. I wanted another advanced fabricator fitted inside. Psych! Day 4, 28 raiders from Legoland showed up. You won't be surprised that they made a mess in our living quarters. And just when I thought that was enough chaos for one morning, the mechs joined in on the fun. The Legos fled soon after that. The first battle cost us only scratches. The half-time was spent on quickly patching up. When waiting for the mechs to burrow their way through our defenses, Lianu thought he'd inspire the troops with a few well-placed insults like a drill sergeant. I guess we can be glad he didn't go full commissar and start executing people to boost morale. We opened the door a little ahead of time to start sniping. Alanza immediately turned Llama's right hand into a suggestion. Bummer. Patsy Knight stepped up to help in his own way and took the fight to the walls. Meanwhile, Llama casually passed herself up and kept one hand sniping like some budget action movie protagonist. The choke point the mechs so generously created for themselves worked. Well enough. After the battle, Lianu and CJ celebrated by beating the crap out of each other. Overall, I suffered psychologically more than my crew did physically. That wasn't a lie, it was just the recoloring of the past. Lianu and Carlos both lost their right eyes. Twinsies! What a fun coincidence. Cobb's leg was filled to the brim and smelled like Satan's compost pile. We also got a new prisoner, who we were absolutely planning to return because customer service matters. Still lacking granite, we used slate to duct tape the holes. A rat volunteered as dinner, some enthusiastic tantrums took place. When Zilla created a masterwork shield belt, I spent forever trying to find it to give it to Soma, because nepotism. But when he ran to pick it up, it was the wrong belt. Patsy Knight ninja looted it and wore it before I even saw it. Fine, whatever. Then Blue staged a one-man prison break and died, leaving us with only the prisoner we are refunding.
A party, you say? Yeah, there is cause to celebrate now since we just lost our only potential recruit. But we did survive, so there's that.
April May 8, we sent a caravan to deliver 30 whales in exchange for recon armor. A solid bargain. While they were gone, a drone flew by and shooted all the women. Carlos got inspired to shoot again, but still cannot aim. It's adorable. Some Ambrosia sprouted, and we refunded a prisoner. When the caravan returned, our second best medic came home, meaning Llama could finally replace her missing hand with a shiny new bionic one. Our best surgeon was officially back in business, and we were winning at mood. I bet the skelebodies felt the positive energy too. Creating armor, replacing lost limbs, and reducing the screaming was still my goal. The lack of crafters was the bottleneck, so I started placing bricks everywhere purely as exercise for the crafters. I even built a second tailoring bench and let everyone make loads like it was a bootleg Etsy. Moments later, Leonie and Zilla announced their new relationship. Soma got so inspired he threw a party immediately, and we replaced the hospital floor with money. Ketchutopia was doing great. Until it wasn't, August 9th, a ship chunk crashed down with its entire fan club, a whole convention of Randy's little helpers. And as if I didn't have enough things occupying my mind, he also drew in an infestation as a 2-for-1. Right into my battery rack, obviously. At this point we were very used to fighting the bugs. One hive popped a battery out of its place, and the bugs managed to eat 2 batteries. But unlike when your pets chew through the live wires, they didn't go to live on a farm. My power collector suffered more than the crew did. The wooden walls couldn't handle the battle, so I stoned them. The battery array was getting a makeover too, since bugs love it so much they keep trying to book a room. Meanwhile, we tried sniping the sighters, but unlike the other mechs, they didn't sit on their business ends and homed in on us immediately. The second time, they didn't even let us fire, so we shelled them with every mortar round we had. The sighters ate some damage, but we hit the ship chunk exactly once. Fantastic. And since we had exactly one capable crafter, I wasn't waiting for more shells while everyone slowly lost their sanity to the psychic downer. So I sent the crew out in a formation by range. Even Ashtur participated by playing the tank. The first wave of aggressive negotiators didn't even touch us. Then Soma decided he did his part and went on a food pinch. Good timing. I had too many frontliners. Wave 2 fell short too. Then a thunderstorm struck near the geothermal generator. I confidently sent Ashtur to put it out, completely forgetting it was a rainy thunderstorm, and the water droppings already had it covered. While clearing the battlefield, I saw a sighter suddenly adapt to something. No clue what it was adapting for, but it definitely wasn't bullets. This version of ship sewage was worth more trouble than I care to admit. And it's destroyed. Good job today, gang. After the battle, Randy sent our power grid on a timeout. We added more shelves to the armory, for convenience and to use more bricks. The battery rack makeover was finally done. We swapped most of the wooden floors for bricks. Leonie and Zilla got engaged. Then Randy blocked out the sun, just to remind us who actually runs this show. Spoiler, it isn't me. September 2nd. We needed sandstone bricks, but we'd run out of chunks. So I sent a caravan to the tile next door to restock. Except there was none. So we picked the steel furniture and some granite instead. Later, I learned that we still had a whole mountain of sandstone. In my defense, no, I have no defense. I forgot to mention this earlier, but whenever we see a predator on the map, we show them who's at the apex. I hate it when my crew gets hunted. Really disrupts my flow. Further down the future, we lost relations to Abracadabra for no reason. Maybe they're just jealous of our holiday resort. CJ and G-Bro both made Masterwork sleeping bags. I was getting ahead of myself, but I was low-key preparing for the end game. Meanwhile, my mining team ate through the sandstone mountain with gusto. September 8th.
Peace. Peace never lasts.
Raynor sieged us with 12 raiders. It took us so long to gear up that they actually fired a mortar shell before we were ready. Embarrassing. But they generously let us help 3 of them get Isekai before coming after us. Sin, with his shattered femur, was so slow he never got his armor on. We tried to escort him inside, but he collapsed right in the doorway like a dramatic Victorian lady. Soma sprinted out to rescue him under the cover of his shield belt. The enemies didn't make it far in the gauntlet before switching to reverse. The fire spooked them into running straight into more traps. Sin lost a finger and a concerning amount of blood, but otherwise he survived. He's fine, mostly. The timing was perfect. I was starting to worry we didn't have enough reinforced barrels. No prisoners this time. Saves us the paperwork. Despite being a complete biological train wreck, Sin was just raring to go. Honestly, I admire the tenacity. If I had his attitude, I'd have finished this colony years ago. Remember that time when I said my crew getting hunted annoys me? Yeah. Carlos wrestled the cougar to the ground without taking any damage. To avoid repeating the darker chapters of our medical history, Llama slapped a fresh bionic leg on Sin. September 10th, another solar flare. Thanks, Randy. Love the ambience. And right before the Butt Goblins raided too, Jeff's kiss. Apparently CJ's sister was part of the party. She gets to bury her sister. Fun times ahead. We used the same tactic as with the mechanoids, and it was working fine, until Llama caught a bullet to the brain and could finally catch a break. It surprised me how fast a person can run with goat juice in their veins. Soma ran back and forth helping take down the jet heads. After that, it was flee time. For them, nobody escaped. We captured a prisoner with a heart condition. The one we actually wanted was emotionally unavailable, getting balls like a smurf here.
Animal disease, that's what we needed, thank you. Yeah, I don't care. We got animals.
No animals were harmed during this dramatic blight episode, somehow. For all the lives Llama saved, and for all the limbs she replaced over the years, we honored her with a jade sarcophagus, fancy as hell. A psychic suit for the lads blanketed the region, exactly what we needed in these trying times. Great for ignoring the screaming void inside me. That, and a calm moment at the corpse lake. Everyone attended the ceremony. Even the injured limped their pixelated way over. We only had one exploding animal on the map, and oh, it burned so beautifully. September 15th, Honketon and Sin opened the day with a quick slap fight. Then Zilla and Lianio decided this was finally the moment for their ceremony. I accidentally cancelled it when I tried to snap Zilla out of her hyperfocus. My bad, guys. A few hours later, they tried again.
Zilla and Lianio, you need to look after in sickness, death, health, all that jazz. Do you swear? On your buttocks. I will have them on a plate if you break your promise, and I will wear it as a hat.
Honestly, be a beautiful service. Zilla got inspired right after and punched out the legendary marine armor, instantly becoming the MVP of the marriage. Meanwhile, our prisoner was busy enjoying a buffet of personal problems. Bloody garbages. Yes, I said garbages instead of chunkies. Yes, I'm very proud. We built a dedicated weaponry for convenience, repurposed the failed infirmary into a Celio trash here room, and reinforced the south side some more. We also released a prisoner, but no relations this time. Still working on that puzzle. Speaking of failed connections, after building a comms console, we tried calling out the butt goblins to piss them off. They slammed the phone down before we even got to the greeting. Rude, but fair. Next, we installed an orbital trade beacon, threw silver at it like it was a stripper, and bought the intel for Persona Core. What I didn't foresee was the mission having a time limit. I wanted to grab it on the way to the ship, but nope. Now I'm doing 2 separate trips like it's Kingdom Come delivery service. And right after that revelation, a mad wild boar tried to convert G-Bro into a corpse. Then a mega slot joined the colony, which was awesome.
Yo! I got an idea. Mega Chad. There we go.
December 9. We spent a few hours sniping the OSHA violations lollygagging around the defoliator ship. But before we could finish the job, 38 custodians arrived to cause problems. The visitors just leaving took a shortcut out of the map. Meanwhile, Lianio got inspired to create something. Given the situation, I assume he was mentally deciding what he planned to do to the enemies. The raiders squeezed through the traps with some sacrifices, and the whole fight turned chaotic. Because my shooting range bottlenecks like a medieval subway gate, my melee squad had trouble, excuse me, pardon me, sorry, coming through their way to the front line. We sniped the runners on their way out, and only 2 escaped. That's a pretty good customer churn rate, honestly. The corpse lake got so full we had to renovate it just to fit everyone. Great problem to have. We were blessed with 3 prisoners. The one we wanted the most, unavailable, of course. The one we were getting, will do. I got sick of not having enough food ever unless I paid attention, so we prepared a new hydroponics room. But the sun lamp itself was enough to drain our power reserves. So the plan was to claim another geothermal vent. The first one already hard carried our grid. Naturally, a solar flare threw its fork into the soup, because Randy saw me planning things and said no. Soon after, prisoner Catherine went berserk. The plan was to wait it out and keep healing the wooden door, but then Agent went ahead and opened the door for her.
Agent? Are you mental? Wow! No!
We've had a great return your prisoner alive ratio lately, so I made everyone hide while I pretended to think. I told the melee gang to drop their weapons and fist Catherine into submission. It worked. After that, Sin's mood hit Bikini Bottom grieving his wife. Plus, a psychic downer drilled into his skull like a dentist with unresolved issues. We gave a psychic shooter a try. Did not visibly improve the situation. Despite all that, he never threw a tantrum. Man's got a darkest dungeon resolve. Respect. Next, we bought a marine helmet helmet from the orbital traders. Anything to slingshot us towards the endgame faster. Then Lyrebird decided it was a great day to stage a prison break. Good. We didn't have enough of those lately, so we tried the same strategy as last time. Drop weapons, apply fists. And it worked again. A pattern is forming. During the scuffle, Carlos slapped Lyrebird's left arm clean off. Unfortunate? Yes. But also, objectively, super cool. Like a handshake gone wrong. But that's Carlos for you. Relations with Legoland tanked again. Releasing Neolada back into the wild earned us absolutely nothing. Except a warm fuzzy feeling inside. We showed Mega Chad because that big tub of love ate all of our raw food. At least I think so. It just can't be my terrible management. Year 5508 kicked off with Catherine continuing her ongoing emotional collapse. Good for her, honestly. Consistency is important. Then, right on schedule. The animals decided to get sick for the first time since last time. Not wanting to miss the Persona Core deadline thanks to my chronic condition. Forgot I had important things to do, itis. I sent a squad of snipers to pick it up, plus Tatsinite, as emotional support muscle, and grab another marine helmet from some passing traders. They reached the mission site the next day, which meant, of course, some Randy bullshit was due, and he crawled out whatever hell he sleeps in, just to wash the colony with a toxic green hue. Up yours too, Randy. On the bright side, it didn't stop Zilla from pushing out another masterwork marine armor. This woman could craft legacies while the sky is dissolving. The poison fog rolled a nat 20 on initiative and hit the crew faster than they could roof themselves in. Thankfully, not long later, Lyrebird joined the crew. Perfect timing. We desperately needed more hands on deck, or at least half a set more, before everyone turned into off-brand super mutants. Before tackling the turrets on site, we popped a Timberwolf behind us before it could become a butt-seeking missile. The only human defender was holding a doomsday launcher, so we carefully guided him around and stored a bullet in him before his finger slipped. Naturally, we tried out the launcher, and honestly, kinda mid. Sniping the remaining turrets after that was just time plus patience equals loot. Team Caravan wrapped up the mission safely, dismantled the solar panels, and grabbed just enough scrap not to walk home like over-encumbered Skyrim NPCs. Home base was still marinating in toxic dust. They could use the help.
And sent. Mission complete. Heck yeah.
Change of plans. The caravan decided to stop and harvest the wildlife on the way. Meanwhile, Llama returned from her vacation, not as a doctor this time, but as a much-needed crafter. I could finally wipe my tears about how slowly the armor pile was building up, sort of.
She's alive!
Welcome back.
The home team did their part in acquiring more corpse bits too, turning the resident megaslots into megaslop, because we had no clue how long the fallout would last, but with enough meat, maybe, just maybe, we wouldn't have to eat the long pig paste. If you think lasting for 3 minutes is not a long time, try holding your breath. The hunting on the caravan side wasn't going too hard. The crew was slightly uncomfortable, and that alone was enough to threaten me with tantrums. At least the caravan gathered a decent amount of fleshy parts. Plus, we were hauling the Persona Core adjacent Doomsday Moron as an emergency snack. Think that's stupid? Just wait. Randy eventually drew us a bone so we wouldn't starve, just in case. Then Catherine joined the colony. Talented, hardworking, hard condition. Perfect. Add her to the pile. Anyway, remember those wild times when this episode of Toxic Fallout began? And how I started panic preparing? Yeah, it ended. Randy took that personally and hit us with an infestation, just so we don't get too comfortable. My walls were not built to contain that many spiky anxiety balloons, so I reinforced them, eventually.
I'm gonna use the melee guys to break down the rest. Bring him down! Scene bro, what's hitting you? Oh, dead wife, that's why. What else? Rebuffed, you're rebounding! Just like G-Box said.
We remodeled the shooting range and the south barricades, so people could actually shoot diagonally now. And the melee squad can charge without getting stuck in NPC pathing purgatory. Thanks to Llama's return, our long-neglected second fabrication bench finally woke up from its coma.
Let's go get that hair! Yeah, he was in a hairy situation. Hehe.
Comedy gold. CJ got inspired, so I made her craft a royal bed for greedy Catherine during an eclipse, because mood lighting is important. It came out as just a masterwork, but Catherine still loved the bedroom. Greed quenched, for now. Remember when I said something stupid happened? Yeah, the caravan forgot to unload the animal bags, so all the meat rotted inside into a biological crockpot. Starving animals returned as a feature, so to put a band-aid on that, I let them destroy my fields.
I'm trying!
My hydroponic setup was finally mostly functional, but before we could complete it, we ran out of steel, if you can believe it. Rusty got reincarnated back to the colony. Sorry buddy, nobody escapes this save file.
Quest expires. Right, this one. Boom. Don't worry about it. easy to complete, but every time I leave, something goes wrong, so I'd rather not.
August 3rd. The Busto people sent 32 raiders to our doorstep. Perfect timing too, because the animals caught the plague. There's just no worrying about one thing at a time. Just kidding, the animals don't matter. It was actually double the perfect timing for them to send bodies to our gauntlet, because the blender was missing most of its teeth. I was in the middle of trying granny traps, hoping they'd net me prisoners instead of corpses. This one doofus with a pila blocked the rectum so hard, the entire raid was constipated. I had to shuffle my colonists in and out of his range, just to trick the raiders into finally excreting themselves out of the colon I call my front door. But once the cork popped, the poop flowed. My squad fertilized the battlefield with the stains rushing in. Sadly, 2 escaped. Unacceptable, but survivable. We scooped up 5 prisoners out of the mess. 2 emotionally unavailable, 3 waiting for an interview. One of them, a misogynist. I'm sure he will keep things interesting around here. Carlos will slap him into gear. Since the granite traps were too strong at 13 damage, we are switching to sandstone traps. Locking in an impressive 10. Then Randy helped us celebrate the successful battle by shooting our boys. And I shooted myself at the corpse lake. It's my spa day. We only lost one small long-legged weird cow to the plague. Acceptable losses. Then Piano went berserk in prison, and Myro clapped her out of it before I could even enjoy what happened.
Yep, everything's running smoothly.
From there, our cell room got impressively full. Carlos and Tatsy had a social fight, where Carlos beat Tatsy's finger artistically in the middle of it. Very avant-garde violence. Once the human trafficking paperwork cleared, we finally moved on to logistics. We sent a caravan to the tile next door for a cup of sandstone. Our traps were thirsty for some. The turnover was pretty great. A bot goblin crashed on our yard, but limped off before we could capture it. Then I learned something beautiful, something tragic, something that should have been obvious. Deep drilling causes infestations. Should have seen it coming. When you dig long into the ground digs also into you. The true victims of this happenstance? My furniture and my carpets. My carpets! After that, Lianu and Astur played the prisoners into joining, the same way you'd pretend you're interested in your teacher's life story, so they keep wasting class time. Next, one of our horses got hit by lightning. I bought baby's first minigun. Randy exercised his card complex. Myra introduced herself with insults. Nico demonstrated the approved method of conflict resolution. And we finally finished the sandstone traps. Except for one lone surviving granny trap. I'm watching you. All my brilliant, carefully crafted plans came to a screeching halt because we ran out of gold. So I did what any responsible colony manager would do. I sent a mining squad to go beat the planet for its lunch money. Back home, precipitation teamed up with the electronics. Result? Another fire. Apparently, the room counted as outdoors, despite me very clearly telling the roof to exist. But the roof told me to go screw myself. The plan for the mining team was simple. Give them a cozy, temporary outpost. Only problem? I forgot to bring a builder, so G-Bro joined shortly after. He moon knights as a miner after all. Then the thing that happens literally every time I send out a caravan happened. Problems arrived from multiple angles. Back in trauma. Just to be safe, I recalled the mining squad immediately. Shockingly, they actually made it back before the raid started. I had to leave the animals outside because the diggers insisted on showing them to the enemies. Maybe we need a pet show to call this impulse. The sandstone traps didn't perform any better than the granite ones. But no matter, the science was still fun. The second wave retreated the moment they squeezed past the gauntlet, and the final group saw that and said, "Yup, that's the gamer move," and peaced out too. We picked up 2 new recruits, and 1 extra that we were leaving on somebody's doorstep. Thanks for visiting our resort! I had another fire in the hydroponics section and finally figured out the problem. The walls were too far apart to support a roof at the center. Made me feel proper stupid, that one. Once that mystery was solved, we recruited more help. First was Sibi, then Lorenzo, and shortly after, Sibi's father, Webb. What a funny coinky-dinky. Nothing bad ever happens with family dynamics in RimWorld. Animal starvation continued to be a thing. Randy also blessed us with sandstone, right as we were running out of chunks, which is a rare act of mercy. Then he balanced it with a blight later, which did nothing, because animals had already eaten everything. Gold was still elusive, so I tried to trade for it. After several attempts, all I managed to acquire was a pocket chains, and a deep sense of disappointment. For my next trick, a mining expedition, I planned carefully. I prepared thoroughly. I wasted a tremendous amount of time, until I found out from the internet that there are no mineral veins in campsites. At this point, I felt exactly like Zippy and Tatsy, confused, angry, and accomplishing nothing. Next, I tried to form a trade caravan, but the idiots refused to leave the map for some reason. They just wandered around like toddlers in a parking lot. Cancelled that and tried again, this time for a quest that promised just enough gold for me to care. That caravan also struggled to achieve liftoff. At this point, I was about as angry as the crew. Turns out one of them was having an asthma attack. Reading it finally convinced everyone that we were in fact allowed to walk forward. Can you guess what happened next? Mechs raided. Every time it's something. I briefly considered recalling the caravan, but the toasters began their assault before I was done yelling at my screen. This time, I had 3 EMP launchers, and I freaking used them. The fight felt way closer than it probably was, but it was still a complete mess. My crew traded some limbs for that victory, and the bionic replacements were waiting on that gold. And speaking of gold, eventually we did find a vein. Naturally, everything had to go horribly wrong first, but when it showed up, we celebrated like cavemen discovering fire. The quest itself went fine, though our bunkers got hurt pretty nicely. Builds character. We got our gold and some random stuff. Also, none of the enemies survived, just clearing that up. On the way back, some folks and some foxes were effing around in the jurisdiction of finding out. What I mean is the caravan got ambushed twice. Nothing catastrophic, but the first ambush gave us more potential recruits. And the rabid dog cats made an even bigger mess out of Myro. Those little foxes. Since my back door gets invaded every time I send a caravan away, I've decided to simply stop accepting quests. Problem solved. A cute young couple joined us, and instead of immediately eating them, I decided to keep them. As if starving animals weren't already a recurring theme. Next up, Soma's bionic arm installation. By the power of surgical inspiration, Agent stepped up to the operating table and failed impressively. He turned Soma's arm into a U-scratching post and fed him the replacement arm. I don't know, it vanished. Honorable mention to Prisoner Ape, who barely survived a heart infection out of pure stubbornness. The next day, Randy roleplayed as Nestle and dumped his industrial waste wherever he felt like. After that, a Buffalo calf regretted every decision that led it into the traps. In the prison octagon, now officially named the Proctagon, Rebe went berserk and attacked the heart infection survivor. She walked away missing 2 toes. Ape closed the deal with a clean Tyson maneuver. That felt like closure. I didn't ask questions. The defoliator ship got swept as usual. At this point, Randy isn't even attacking us. He's just assigning yard work. Later, I caught Agent cheering up Soma, which was the bare minimum after turning his arm into a salad. Following that, Darkling and Zippy got turned into pincushions by a pikeman I somehow failed to notice among the wreckage. I'm sure we'll all laugh at this mistake later. Haha. Then a bear attacked our stallion. We rushed in to help, but the stallion died of bloodlust later anyway, because nobody cared enough to follow up. Goodbye, Megachat 2. Believe it or not, I won't miss you. After that, we installed some patches on the crew. Lama and Soma, arms hot fixed. Rusty, hot replaced to address a fatal bug. Sin, graphics upgrade, now supports higher resolutions. Ape, new peg leg DLC, courtesy of Agent's ongoing redemption arc. Before Feces hit the AC, Bjarno wanted to fire her best insults at Darkling, but he couldn't give less of a profanity and just went to sleep instead. Confused, Bjarno focused his efforts elsewhere. Webb was also too busy to pay attention. With no audience and no damage dealt, the Banter Bandit disengaged. For Randy's next trick, he sent the Lego raid to close out the year. Ape, who we had literally just released, narrowly avoided getting swept up in the incoming tsunami of bad news. She even put in a good word for us on her way out. Only then did I realize, oh right, they were her people. Every time there is a raid, my deep drills get punished. I don't know who they offended, but the universe hasn't forgiven them. The largest raid in our short but aggressively traumatic history crash-landed directly into our traps. On the list of silly little accidents, I forgot to close a door in the gauntlet, which basically let the enemies bypass the reception desk. Huh? Oh boy! Luckily, the attackers were operating at Jaja Binks after a headshot levels of intelligence. Tatsi slammed the door shut before it got out of hand, while Carlos and Myro held off the flanking fartknockers. Moments later, enemy morale collapsed under the weight of a freshly curated corpse pile. Now please, escort the survivors politely off my property. Out of the 79 raiders, 65 checked in permanently at Corpse Lake. We had to expand the resort to accommodate the new guests. 3 booked the presidential suites, 1 emotionally unavailable and 2 waiting for an interview. Year 5509 began with Rebe going berserk again. Technically, it was Psychite withdrawal, but after the 3rd episode, it just felt like her hobby. Darkling tried to help the door outlast her episode. I monitored the situation closely. Of course, Agent tried to pitch in. Then he tried to help again by almost shooting Rebe. when it was time for the administered beating. We only managed to patch one hole, before Lando went berserk too, alcohol withdrawal, or maybe the tap water is haunted, assuming we even have tap water. Soon after, some traders rolled up with something I've never seen before, an Architect arm. Naturally, I gave it to Soma. Nepotism. After that, we slapped in more upgrades. Carlos, bionic eye. Webb, new spine. Zilla, new leg. Zibi, renamed to Gilo. Welcome back, legend. With that, all limbs were replaced that could be replaced or mattered. A few moments later, Davy face planted out of the sky in a drop pod. We rescued him instead of capturing him, because he was mid-tier at best. Naturally, he immediately joined us. The universe is still mocking me for letting that combat demigod escape earlier. Yeah, I'm not letting that one go. Then, a manhunter pack of 56 Kugas entered the chat. They flooded my trap maze like a retrograde diarrhea with heat. A psychic suit arrived just in time to keep the colony from collectively rage quitting. I learned two things. One, having my melee fighters block the league was stupid. They ate a buffet of friendly fire. And two, Kugas have an affinity for toes. Following that, Ergo quit being a captive. We had to beat Rebe again, and Rusty and Tatsi became lovers. Oh yeah, I bought huskies for funsies. Nigo and Zilla had a social fight, and round 2 in the octagon. Meanwhile, Leonie started an affair with Myro, and they became lovers. I did not know RimWorld allowed speedrunning adultery. Since Rebe was basically a combo meal of mental illnesses, we let her go. Helping her in our rehab clinic even gave us a relations bonus. Lando, inspired by Rebe's legacy, went berserk again. I got distracted by the food rotting in my storage after mangling some settings earlier, and came back to Lando attacking one of our huskies. I authorized lethal pause, but luckily she survived. Against my better judgment, I let her join early, mid-treatment. Mistake. She had another mental breakdown and killed Dragonborn. I nearly banished her on the spot, but she's too useful to throw away. She can work off the murder, naturally. She collapsed catatonic in prison right after. Good for her, she needed the nap. Meanwhile, Leonie on his pilgrimage to romance the entire colony became lovers with Llama. Randy woke up swinging. 8 colonists got malaria. Exciting start for summer. After a few days, the malaria speed bump was over, and a cougar attacked Zilla. I overconfidently thought she could handle it, but my heart sank when she started taking damage, and my brain replayed a past tragedy in microseconds. Thankfully she lived. Losing my best crafter would have had me practicing backflips on the balcony. The next day, negative Nancy 5000 passed ahead. We countered it with a party. After that emotional power wash, we turned the mausoleum into a barn to store all the hay. And just when things finally felt calm, August 6th, Agent's family decided to visit, and judging by the numbers, his extended family came along too. One of our dogs sprinted out to greet them, and immediately turned himself into a cautionary tale. This time, the melee squad stayed back. I didn't want them absorbing that friendly fire like a dartboard at a bachelor party. As expected, the enemy long-range brain thrust clogged the pipe again, so I had to do my usual dance. Poke them, yell at them, reposition, basically the social equivalent of unclogging a toilet. Eventually I found an angle where they were forced to push in, and the first group folded almost instantly, like cheap lawn chairs. The second group followed shortly after, clearly having seen enough of today's performance. We stripped some armor off the floor garbage before they clocked out, and we walked away with 2 potential recruits. Business is booming. After the battle, everyone regressed into hungry toddlers. Blake showed up just to slow me down. And we had another quality round in the Proctagon. Between the 9th and 10th of August, Randy dropped a cosmic weed whacker on us. The Centiblasters were so durable, it turned the fight into 40 hours of on and off long distance disappointment. Somewhere in the middle of all this, Lando hid in her room, as if that was ever optional. Later, we found an unfinished sculpture by Misku, a small, somber discovery. Snowy eventually joined the colony, and the radioactive paperweight finally exploded. We didn't get much of a breather.
Oh no, we get raided now, is that it?
There weren't many, but they brought weapons that reopened the PTSD archive. The fight plan to let them open a choke point to us lasted until Chemfuel got involved. Adapted plan. Use melee to tie down as many happiness-deleting objects as possible. Carlos and Tatsi chose to take the fight in the stupid part of the room. Shockingly, the Chemfuel exploded, and both idiots collapsed like discounted mannequins. Dragging their smoldering corpses out of the Isle of Fire was a chore. Shout out to Marine Armor for preventing the grilling. Other than the self-inflicted stupidity, the fight went fine, and the warehouse survived. Mostly. Zilla lost a spine, Biano lost his mind, and it's been a while since Octagon got so absolutely fully stuffed. Good news, everyone! Walling in the deep drill worked. Mechs can't punch what they can't see. After a couple of days of bed rest, Zilla got her brand spanking spine installed. She's walking better than she ever did with the factory model. I paused the front door reimagining to patch mech-shaped scars and double wall the chem fuel storage. I didn't reinstall the generators. If all goes well, we won't be here long enough to need them. August 15th, Randy sent a 128 strong Lego raid. No rest for the crew, just bricks flying everywhere.
Ay.
I watched my other deep drill get spiritually targeted by this seasonal human tsunami. Foresight 2020. Nice to see this side of the spectrum for once. The good news? They were all melee tribals, which made the fight feel like a zombie tower defense. The bad news? I built a barrier on the right side of the kill box, instead of a wall. That made the enemy pathing just inconvenient enough to annoy me the entire battle. After the dust settled, we collected 5 prisoners, 1 potential recruit, the rest were deemed unwavering, and rerouted to the organ donation program. 4 colonists who keep misplacing their kidneys in combat. For our valiant efforts, Randy celebrated us. Thoughtful? Yes, but we'd settle for sleep or stability, either one. Also, Lando finally wrapped up her rehab arc and rejoined society like nothing happened. Love a good redemption story. Moments later, Randy dangled a quest to rescue someone named Iselle. New porn hype, big mistake, she turned out to be jealous. I risked the colony for someone who throws tantrums if other people have nicer bedrooms.
Rick, I didn't want jealous.
Amazing. The raiders rained in after her, scattering across the map like confetti at a clown funeral. Naturally, one landed directly inside the hydroponics. Of course it did. I dispatched 2 bonkers to deal with the agricultural antagonist, before he could uproot all of my emotional support rice. We weren't even done sweeping up the previous batch of idiots, but the battle was going great. Right up until one guy spun towards us with a doomsday launcher. I clenched my entire lower body, but luckily we deleted him before he could press the big red button.
Look, they found their way to the deep drill. Of course they did. What is that? Yo! What the freak was that?
Turns out, there was a second doomsday launcher. Aside from that brief cardiac episode, no major damage, just another wholesome RimWorld afternoon. I hope this impresses you as much as it impresses me. I've been spiritually ready to leave this planet ever since Carlos and Tatsi got their faces exfoliated in the chem fuel storage, but Randy said no. Apparently, harvesting a few spare parts is enough to send both the prisoners and my colonists into a dancing spectrum of mental collapse. Piano decided to pitch in by encouraging prisoners to escape, which triggered Nat to perform a 1-woman jailbreak speedrun. Astor swooped in to arrest Piano, promptly dropped his minigun, and Nat picked it up like it was loot from a tutorial chest and immediately opened fire. So I made Astor tank it with his shield belt as punishment. Then Lando arrived to resolve the situation. At this point I was so emotionally checked out, I stopped caring if people use weapons on prisoners. Just end the noise. From there, everyone kept trying to snort the entire pharmacy inventory, and Astor kept handing out brain resets, which caused a feedback loop where they drew more tantrums for being imprisoned. A beautiful self-sustaining ecosystem of stupid. I stripped Isella the Jealous, threw her in prison, and left the door open on purpose, hoping that letting her walk out wouldn't give us a mood debuff. It did, of course it did. September 4th, we finally became allies with Abracadabra after years of trading, a lighthouse in the Sea of Tears. Ergo got a shiny new bionic tummy the next day. Then, an amped up male psychic downer swooped in and punched everyone's emotions in the throat. Agent decided to cope by beating prisoners. First Lorenzo, then Nico, then presumably the concept of peace itself. Darkling reached that impressionable age, took it too far, and tried to do a murder on Nat. Because my people struggle with doors, like the aliens in Science, but in reverse, Nat earned herself some unearned parole. At this point, I stopped trying to rehabilitate anyone, and just left the worst offenders in jail, until the "someone's organ harvested" mood debuff finally expired.
She's actually... Okay, there we go, she's attacking Darkling. Darkling is like, I have 5 more minutes.
Meanwhile, Lianu started an insult spree on CJ, because he was greedy about his bedroom, which had changed because of his affairs. Can they stop hitting themselves in the head for 5 minutes? During all this pandemonium, Nat joined. Terrible timing, but welcome aboard. Then I had my own personal tantrum when I realized that instead of reimagining the entire front door, I could have just put a sandbag in the corner to stop enemies from using it as cover. At least that's how I think it would work. We're back to hindsight, baby! The downward spiral started on the 1st of September, and on the 8th, the emotional teeter-totter finally calmed down. Longest week ever. Once people stopped shrieking at the walls, I finally noticed we didn't walk away scot-free from the earlier Doomsday Blast. Zilla had severe brain damage this whole time. No wonder she was walking like Windows Vista. My V. Next up, installing our ethically sourced spare parts. Kidney for Carlos, a lung for Chilo. I had to ban Darkling, Agent and Astur from doctoring, because they all really wanted to do the surgeries, and I really wanted my colonists to remain alive. While I was fighting the UI to make Honkaton do the operation, this happened.
There is a kidney right there. Oh, okay, Doc took it. Never mind.
After retrieving the stolen kidney from the world's happiest criminal, we successfully installed it into G-Box. Unfortunately, we couldn't fix everyone, because we had a kidney where we needed a lung, and our donors were long gone. On a side note, storing the organs in the fridge next to the meat was practically begging for an incident report titled, "Why does this steak have a barcode?" The next plan, simplicity itself. Wait for the anesthesia to wear off, then leave immediately. But did we get to do that?
Infestation?
Of course. Just as we were psyching ourselves up to clean out the bug prison, the flu showed up like an extra with bad timing. Even double granite walls couldn't handle the heat of the extermination. At least the discount facehuggers had the decency to stay inside this time. The aftermath made me think of some tasteless retro neon splatter pants from a cursed timeline. I say that to pretend I know anything about fashion. I don't. Next, Darkling decided the healthiest response to stress was digging up my long dead brother. Not cool, man. Meanwhile, half the colony was bedridden with the flu, which meant we were still not leaving. The ship remained a myth, a bedtime story. 2 days later, things looked technically survivable.
What do you say, guys? Should we leave? I think it's about time we leave.
I spent about 3 hours meticulously packing, unpacking and repacking, because we didn't have enough sleeping bags. Myra refused nutrient base like it personally offended her, and I, of course, forgot the Persona core. Silver lining, I learned you should uninstall batteries that the game refuses to let you back up otherwise. To kill time, I watched a passing trader group get into a domestic dispute with a bear. Another thing that was fun, you have to manually drain all the luggage of the animals before the game admits they exist. You can't simply pick up where you left, that would respect my time. By the time the caravan was ready, I was half convinced I'd need a degree in logistics just to survive packing for a trip. The crew dragged the animals as far from the unload spot as was physically inconvenient.
No! Nico is on an insulting spree. We're never leaving.
I briefly considered abandoning everyone except the dogs. And not a personal highlight. One guy loaded gear onto animals, while the rest stood around, stretching their foreskins, finished for wasting time. When the caravan finally achieved liftoff, they dragged the animals back north anyway. Things can only get better from here, right? I mean, our wealth level will dip, but we still have all the gear. It's going to get better. The trip to the end game began. We were so close to getting out of here. I was wrong, but we'll get to that later. As a funny haha moment to spike chat's blood pressure, I abandoned the settlement behind us. I was expecting confirmation. I got nothing but consequences. We made it all the way to the next tile and hit starvation. I knew for a fact that we had food on board, but believing the game, we set up camp to hunt. It was stupid to leave during winter. Malnutrition unlocked new behaviors. Davey decided to self-check out using Carlos. Zilla went berserk and beat up a foal. Darkling and Piano tried giving up, and I almost joined them. Myra went into a daze, not from hunger, but because she needed attention. A lynx picked a fight, which became a convenient stress ball opportunity. Then, Agent and Darkling launched back-to-back insult sprees, which escalated into a rap battle, which escalated into a fist fight, which somehow landed them in the corner of the map, and I'm not sure how they dragon boat their way over there. I did whatever I could to turn the emotional spiral into a spire. Mood? Bad. Damage? Unhealed. We had to leave anyway because the fun police were approaching. As we packed up, I discovered 81 meals hidden somewhere. 81! If we had that many, why the hell did everyone scream starvation? I was having about as much fun as playing through a quick time event boss fight with a steering wheel. It took us around 45 minutes to reach the ship. During that time, we brute forced an ambush and stopped at every friendly town to buy food, like panicked tourists before a snowstorm. Hostile settlements taunted me, much like the birds that keep pooping on my balcony, and I was ready to ruffle some feathers, but I held back. Despite all that, everyone arrived starving, angry, and ready to throw hands. Naturally, Randy welcomed us with a raid the second we stepped on the map. The gang was in no condition to fight, so we tried to flee, but the game said, no, unload your 17 metric tons of hot junk first. Then someone threw a tantrum, and I lost what little enamel I had left. Meanwhile, the raiders executed a galaxy brain maneuver and started destroying the ship. You know, that one thing everybody supposedly wants. So we fought them, and we won, easily. There was never any reason in being afraid of the inevitable. After the raid, I tried founding a new settlement, this time with a bold new focus on food. Step 1, slaughter all the horses. That was it. We were not leaving anymore. Except some tried. Deserters were either shot, beaten, or shot and beaten, depending on my emotional durability at the time. Yes, I was doing great mentally. A few people rejected civilization altogether and chose to become feral woodland cryptids. Taming them back was kinda fun, like rinsing your eyeballs with mouthwash fun. The 10% chance to turn aggressive fired so often I briefly checked if I accidentally booted up XCOM. Some colonists attempted to chemically exit reality. CJ chose death over sobriety. Myra clocked out shortly after. And I feel nothing. Nope, it's fine. Did I mention the tantrums? Because there were tantrums. So many tantrums. Explosive, dramatic, attention-seeking. And somehow still fewer fistfights than expected. Somewhere in the middle, a medium psychic drone rolled in, and that delivered the coup de grace to what remained of any mental sanitation.
Don't beat a dead horse, Rusty. Haha, hee-hee-ha.
Llama showcased peak survival instincts by sleeping directly in the corpse dump. Val had the longest tantrum in recorded history, and made a mess so large, I briefly considered uninstalling IRL.
How long is it going to last? Oh, there we go. I was about to ask.
In positive news, on the way here we bought a cat, Ripley 2. We also picked up a female husky, which granted us puppies pretty soon. We needed those. Masterworks returned as the prison came online, and for the first time in a while, things got easier. Not better, just easier.
Yep, the break risks are looking bad.
After all the hissy fits, I'm officially naming the colony Tantrum Town. Population? Unhinged. Somewhere in the chaos, Rusty and Tatsy got engaged. A surprise to be sure, but a welcome one. Then the heat wave arrived, so everyone became sweaty, angry, and stupid at the same time. A beautiful combo. Out of the many chem pinches, Piano stood out. He went berserk during timeout, and Zoma, attempting Llama's tried and true approach, accidentally converted Piano's ear into particulate matter. Great! Another hole that needs patching.
Rust it into a fine mist. We're gonna need an implant for that one or something. Soma, do you think that was enough?
The Archotech arm sure came in handy. The council suggested planting flowers inside the barracks. I did, and it helped me more than the colony. Normally, I let them break whatever they want for emotional release, but Soma headbutting high explosive shells was not covered in the self-care pamphlet. We built a new armory. I overdid it. There's only one season in Tantrum Town. We didn't need that many clothes. But in my defense, the last armory was so small it gave me stress damage. August 5th, Randy sent a little raid our way. Lianu and G-Bro were already busy role-playing the town name, so the timing felt appropriate. The raiders were wildly unprepared to face power armor at our wealth level. Perfect. We needed their food. Since we didn't have a lake this time, we built a co-op sauna around the steam vent. Cozy, relaxing, lightly cursed. Later, prisoner Diver went berserk. At first, G-Bro tried healing the door, possibly while thinking about the world's greatest knock-knock joke. But I got bored and sent in Davy to beat her up, with 2 normal arms. Diver kept all her limbs, which is more than Soma can say about ears this week.
Oh, a cow miscarried because of the starvation. Yep, animal starvation, nothing new here.
While trading, I remembered. We owned a psychic suit pulsar. This realization happened twice. I did not use it. Could have solved some of our problems. Oh well. On the upside, Dragonborn 2 was born. And Lorenzo threw a party, which was very much needed for the morale. The party never ended in Piano's heart.
Here we go again.
Zilla kept dazing out consistently. Not sure if it was mood-related or the brain damage. Both would be my fault. After another full day of tantrums, we finished the first real defenses and walled in everything that mattered. Diver joined the crew. Tatsy and Carlos beat each other up in the fields. I learned G-Bro uses a chunk of rock as a neck pillow, and Potrogo uses one as a weighted blanket. Warriors rest however they want. I went absolutely feral on farming, and for once, we weren't hungry. For now. Randy wrecked our feelings again with a drone. Did not help. But I finally remembered to use that pulsar. Did not help. During one of these episodes, Lorenzo smashed the ship's computer core.
Yeah, might as well break some of those. The ship, we need to get out here. This idiot.
The carousel of agony continued uninterrupted. After a failed chem binge, Gilo immediately pivoted into Cobb's obsession the moment he was released from prison. Straight back in the cell. Speedrun any %. Speaking of Cobb's obsessions, it got so bad it became a tradition. It got to the point where I permanently sealed the graves, just to keep the bodies inside. Anyway, back to where we were. Lianu went berserk and started beating his current lover of the week. It took an entire squad administering repeated physical feedback to calm him down. Then, just 2 tantrums later, a toxic fallout slithered in. At this point I'm convinced it's just everyone's mood solidifying into weather. Trying to wall in and roof the colony while everyone is screaming and fighting was difficult. Right in the middle of that, the flu showed up. Just what we needed. The only fun thing left was counting Agent's remaining toes. September 3rd, the Bastodians raided.
We're getting raided by 70 people. Oh my goodness me.
And to my personal delight, Prince was among them. I do wonder what they did with that absolutely beautiful armor. Then I realized where they were going.
Wait, this was still open? Oh no! Okay, we are losing all of that now. I'm so glad I had all of this defense going on. Yup. As long as you're having fun, I guess. Are they destroying the ship? Yes, they are destroying the thing that everybody freaking wanted.
Despite all the prep time, I am still me. Somehow, I messed up. More. And we were forced to take the fight in the armory doorway. It wasn't ideal, but we won. They were still tribals, and we had power armor. It feels good to be wealthy enough to commit mistakes and get away with it. Soma, however, lost his ear in the scuffle.
That's karma for ya.
The crew celebrated their victory by making things as hard on me as possible. Lianu, looking for that high score, slaughtered the puppy, tried giving up, then went catatonic. Finally, peace.
At least he won't be killing any more puppies.
Then the universe hit shuffle, Mad Ostrich, a grass blight, Kempinch, Chibro got molested by the ostrich I forgot about, another tantrum, Soma got addicted to Ambrosia because my hands were busy facepalming, Chibro killed an albino bison, and Rusty went catatonic. Those 2 days after the raid were exceptionally busy. And then the bat goblins showed up. Of course, they came in via drop pods. Of course, they landed in my crafting room. Don't worry, I wasn't upset or anything. I am the master of my emotions. But Roko threw a tantrum and rage quit the fight before it started. After trashing my crafting room, the goblins exited through the AC, of course, and fired a rocket launcher into my prison. Chibro and Lianu got shredded, and one husky got that permanent retirement. Some folks were trapped in the mines and couldn't join the main force. After mowing through my dogs, the butt pirates decided to kidnap whoever they could on the way out. Unfortunately for them, this was the exact moment we finished gearing up. We stepped in, we raised them. Even the huskies got revenge. One of them personally executed a raider on the side. Amazingly, nobody died, except for the doggies. Tragic. Because the prison was freaked, I couldn't protect people from addictions. Thanks to the Bastodians nuking our power, we ran out of meals because we couldn't cook. A nice addition to the issues pile. Then Chibro got an infection. We couldn't treat him properly, because the game is really particular about what you're allowed to do and when. To care for Chibro, he needs to be on a prison bed. So we rebuilt the prison at record speed, while Chibro politely tried not to die. Somewhere along the way, multiple colonies almost died of the flu I had completely forgotten about. Next, Chilo was about to provide more animal care. Luckily, our prison was patched just in time. I took a brief mental health break at the cop sauna. I don't know what the dogs have done to my colonies. Toxic fallout stuck around for about a week before finally getting bored and leaving on September 7th. With the sky no longer poisoning us, the crew celebrated by going even harder on tantrums. Animal starvation hit critical mass. We fixed it by creating another pen. The revolutionary strategy: move animals between pens so the grass has time to exist. Thanks, Brain Council. It takes 1 brick to make a fence. 1. You place it down and tell the animals no, and they listen. That's not construction, that's some Pavlovian psychology.
No!
Anyway, good news. A break from the constant emotional waterboarding between raids. 38 Lego tribals. Not too bad, I thought. They punched through a corner of my base, and I realized, in real time, that nobody was armored. Half the colony was unarmed, and several people were emotionally equipped for standing in a flower pot. Not violence. So, we improvised. Everyone with a gun started shooting. Everyone without a gun went to fetch one, and then also started shooting. The melee squad attacked as fast as they could suit it up, swinging like they were late for work. Somehow, this caveman scramble of a strategy worked, and we got a new recruit. No major damage, no limbs donated, no emotional speeches, which means, statistically, this was one of our best fights. I took what little wisdom I had left and spent a long time reinforcing every wall I owned, making absolutely sure the enemies had a clean, well-lit path to the front door. Is it masochism if I enjoy punishment? Yes, but is it when I enjoy it only when I get something out of it? Not like that! RimWorld has taught me resilience, mostly by beating me with it. What I mean is, it's impressive that I'm still sticking with this save, considering I'm a chronic restarter. Then Agent's brother, Nab, wandered into our lives. Among the things that could happen next, our 12-year-old husky had a heart attack. We were out of meds. This is where I felt true despair. The kind that sits down next to you and doesn't say anything. Luckily, Astor performed emotional CPR and massaged reality until the dog decided to keep living. Veterinary science is fake and I will not be taking questions. Chilo died of infection because I forgot to babysit the doctors. Luckily, we had a fresh replacement body waiting in the roster. Crazy also rejoined the colony. Welcome back. Sorry in advance. Lianu and G-Box had a rap battle. No winners. Several emotional casualties. We lost relations with the Maycom Covenant because one idiot decided feeding a cougar was a good idea. Rusty and Tachi got married for good mood. Our cat, Ripley, hunted a hare. I was unreasonably proud. Finally, someone put their weight. And then it was back to my natural state, fighting my own colony. For control of the steering wheel, while Randy laughs from the passenger seat. 10th of December, a trash ship fell from the sky. Boom!
Nobody hit it! My best shooters!
We powered them down with snipers, as you do. After that, I went back to my new main hobby, interior design under duress. I floated on the living quarters development, trying to force shut the chapter of tantrums. Temperature control and comfort improved. The Sims mindset wasn't enough. December 14th, infestation. And yes, right next to my batteries. Again, at this point I'm convinced insects can smell electricity. Or maybe just my suffering. While most of the colony prepped for violence, Webb walked around, buffering, because that's what he does. We relocated the batteries away from the future crime scene, because we've learned a little sometimes. Anyway, just in time for Freezer Day, the crew popped those ugly gift wrappings like bubble wrap. I went back to micromanaging morale, walls and vibes, trying to improve the quality of life for my unpaid interns. And fight! One of the huskies killed a mega scarab, which was when I noticed there were still hives hiding under the dump room chunk. So, congratulations everyone, this round is also on me.
Good job gang, you're free.
After that, we got a new set of lovers. Year 5511 began, and the focus resumed to building, luxury and comfort as the target, so people could shut the frick up about tantrums already.
Social fight! Oh, the octagon is back everybody!
Not long later, a blight hit the fields. Then a butt goblin crashed his pod inside our compound. Cool, a new recruit. A quick tantrum later, renovations were finished. 2 storages got expanded, and the barracks got repurposed into a crafting room. I sprinkled some turrets in what I call key positions, hoping enemies would stop trying to headbutt my walls like drunk goats. My comfort machinations worked. By 10th of April-May, only Webb was crying anymore because of his dead son, but he'll calm down in a few days once he realizes you win some and you lose some. That called for celebration. Morale soared. IQ stayed the same. Following that, I got sick of my idiots using Glitter World medicine for paper cuts, thanks to the frequent prison carousel, which kept defaulting the medicine setting. So I dug through the menus, found the setting, and felt like I just unlocked forbidden knowledge. Could have been useful early on, holy heck. The colony reached a healthy equilibrium. Sven joined the colony. I'm not even attempting to pronounce that name. The animals couldn't catch a break, but they kept catching illnesses. Webb downgraded to minor breakdowns, and we carpeted the rec room. August 5th, yard work. From there, we improved the crafting room. I'm not colorblind, I swear. Then Lianu and Llama broke up for whatever reason. Just as I thought tantrums were handled, the Legos rained in all over the place, like plastic hail with intent. Butt munches. I hope the ground didn't hurt too much when their bodies hit it. People saw some bodies, so now everyone's mad again. A life without pain isn't an illusion worth experiencing. Lianu lost his remaining arm in the scuffle, and post-battle, his wife disconnected. He'd now lost his wife and both lovers. Unable to handle it, he started getting in on everybody's business, even going as far as fighting a prisoner unarmed. There goes the dumbest man I've ever known. There was another potential prisoner, but she was a pyromaniac. We kissed her boo-boos and let her figure it out from there. Nothing of value was lost in the battle, except my turrets and a generator. And because things weren't confusing enough, Nico and Snowy started an affair. On the bright side, the new defenses were coming along nicely, and I named the donkey after Nassim, which honestly might have been the strongest decision I've made all year. The Legos were not done, and the turrets, despite my optimism, did absolutely nothing to stop them from politely unbuilding my walls. Maybe it was because of the Solar Flare. Naturally, the Legos ignored all the military targets and went straight for the living quarters, because if you're going to raid someone, you may as well kick their furniture and piss on their pillows. Disease and sickness are selfishness of the soul. When we're weak, we turn inward, but when we are well and strong, love can take over. And we can be truly generous, which is why people who hoard wealth are spiritually ill. Anyway, I was feeling very healthy, so I generously distributed violence.
Nobody escaped.
Trying to keep colonists alive long term has gifted me a cursed toolbox, filled with pragmatism, cruelty, and memories I can't legally discuss in The Hague. Like that time first generation llama performed medical body horror purely to grind medical XP. The means justified the end being survival and having fun while at it. A defoliated ship landed with 37 sighters. I was already expecting sniping wouldn't work. It was really stupid of me to play this the way I did. My confidence wrote checks my colonists paid in limbs. Next time, everyone wears armor, not just the front line. Mortars will come out from storage, and I'll stop pretending I'm smarter than the game.
Honketon died. What?
He bled out in his bedroom. The man was a doctor, allowed to heal himself, which makes this either a profound statement on burnout or the dumbest possible way to die. Then again, his wife was there with him. I'm not asking questions. We buried him in the crypt with the others. Traditions were honored, and Randy seemed to drop his condolences as well. Soma collapsed on the top of the things already going wrong. He lost a leg in the battle and ran out of steam. The adrenaline left and exhaustion clocked in for its shift. I took a break at Coop Sauna, listening to the vent hiss, pretending that counted as self-care. Then the tantrum started pouring. I attempted to close that tab by introducing lavish meals, and shockingly, good food makes you feel good. The more you know. Progress. We expanded the living quarters for the new recruits. Things seemed to stabilize. Leonil got a new arm, and he could finally go back to expressing his misery at the art bench. Then Randy dispatched 12 angry rhinos to remind us why hope is a bad habit. Not a big deal, I thought, but of course one of my idiots was outside in the mines. They shoved a horn up his bleep and left him alive to think about it. Another thing that grinded my gears? I made the mistake of believing that my colonists are smart enough to keep the fridge doors closed. The temperature rose, in more ways than one. My food kept spoiling without rest. To replace lost limbs and tape together the spaceship to get off this unfun rock, I needed blast steel, and to get it, I built 3 deep scanners, mined half the map. The earthbound raiders went somewhat extinct. The scanners seemed to find everything under the sun, except blast steel. Desire sensor much? I also built a comms console to trade with the passing ships, but it took 11 days for the first one to arrive, and the next one, I'm not sure it ever happened. Anyway, the trader had just enough blast steel for one part. Honketon didn't even get a chance to cool off in the afterlife. He clocked back in as a crafter, like he always wanted. I tried throwing paint at my problems, but the new carpets did not stop the unchecked emotional collapse. December 9, by 5:11, the deep range lackers finally found blast steel. I was excited. Did we mine it? Absolutely not. Randy doesn't let you have nice things uninterrupted. First, Rainer paid us a visit. They brought sappers, but for once, my defenses worked, and the field survived. I felt like I got this one in the bag. I was wrong. Soma and Ergo were in the mines when the raiders arrived. And let me tell you, Soma did not hop away in time on his remaining leg. I don't know what Ergo's excuse was. Either way, both got kidnapped. Before I could emotionally process that, the Bat Goblin showed up and started a siege. Meanwhile, I was trying to teach my brain-dead crew the advanced tactical maneuver known as "Don't stand where the grenade is landing." Other than the stupidity mentioned, it was easy pickings. One potential recruit survived, the one we wanted the most, unavailable, of course. After the post-battle tantrum marathon, my furry friends got hit with the plague, followed by an immediate animal flu. A double whammy. Whatever, good practice for the medical team. Then Leonil beat our next crew member, in a sadistic rage. What a power move. Speaking of, electricity started choking for no clear reason. So we built a new geothermal generator, ran out of steel mid-connection, and Tatsi got a bad back as a birthday present. December 14th, Lorenzo's dog died of plague. That's going to drag his mood to the mud. Later that night, the mech hive rolled in. Casualties? 1 turret. And whatever was left of the colony's mood. Adultery seemed to be becoming an increasingly frequent problem. Like a trend. You can probably guess how many problems that caused. Exactly what a functioning colony needs. Romantic subplots. Some of the melee squad still didn't have shield belts. While scavenging for some, I realized I could just dig some out of the trash in the corpse sauna. Year 5512 began with my usual epiphany headache. I had forgotten the dogs in the animal safety zone. They'd been there since the last battle. Very hungry. Upon release, they immediately warmed up my fridge again. Not long after, deep drilling politely invited an infestation. I didn't even bother gearing everyone up. And for once, my overconfidence didn't invoice me. April May 3rd, we finally drilled into the plasteel. It felt longer than the 9 days it took to accomplish this simple task. From there, Lianyu got a new arm, Anketon and Malia announced their upcoming ball and chain. Blubby went berserk in prison, we used him as a punching bag, and somehow he joined us moments later. He's talented, but I made him a janitor, because this place is still a disaster. Following that, I got to watch Dark playing with a dog, slamming him playfully on the bed. The truth was a bit more dark than that. There was a puppy with a broken jaw. By my orders, Dark was supposed to send him to the farm, but there he was, all grown up now, without any issues. The dog chose life, I respected that. Later, Val and Gracie got engaged. We built bedrooms for the greedy, and the colony continued oscillating violently. Running a colony is a lot like farming. The wheat may look brown, but the Mother Earth's milk is still inside it, and the sun's yet to paint it gold. Self-reflection time. I'm at page 169, and this story is still so unfinished I'm carving this on a tree. Episodic release was a mistake. I can't rewrite the past, so instead, I'm punching a wall and saving you time. From now on, tantrums are assumed. They are the background radiation of my life. We're doing greatest hits only. April May 8, Raina rained all over the map. Lady Luck was feeling flirty that day. Only 2 landed inside the compound. Easy pickings. I don't think I've ever seen a combat shotgun one-shot a person. Character building moment. Wouldn't recommend it. The second guy lived long enough to regret it. The rest kindly stress-tested Front Gate 2.0. It passed. I tried to fit survivors into prisoners, but apparently the rules changed. I thought there was a pattern there. Unfortunate. The very next day, mechs. 3 layers of walls bought us just enough time to suit up for the beat and greet. A solid display of teamwork later, they were scrap. 4 EMP launchers helped. That gun still opens the locked emotions folder. Imagine having the flu. Now add gut worms. Running nose, vomiting, diarrhea. The deluxe package. Been there actually. Not fun. No, I didn't have worms. Because we had to bury Totrosa, the crypt was still open. Naturally, Nico took that chance to dig up a corpse. Of course she did. I spent days keeping flu patients alive. After turning so many things into axe-flavored pizza toppings, Carlos lost the battle to the virus. My 3 almost maxed out medical experts were apparently decorative. I was nettled. Nico went wild next, but we tamed her before Frontgate 2.0 could eat her. August 4th, Gutworms defeated. From there, we started building the ship in earnest. Steel was annoying, plus steel was mythical. To speed things up, we had 4 drills running at the same time. An infestation popped in the North Mine. I didn't care. They could leave there for all I care. 2 donkeys disagreed and tried to speedrun natural selection. We saved them from the self-checkout line. And although I didn't think it possible, I lost more trust in AI. It's artificial idiocy. My animals continued dying of malnutrition, as tradition dictates. Then very late into the game, I remembered auto slaughter exists. This knowledge arrived several corpse piles too late. September 4th, we got a quest for a new pawn. The price was high, and I refused the risk of rolling another jealous Isel. I built a pile of dark beds to stop them from sleeping in the freezer doorway. It helped, a little. Then a manhunter pack of rhinos attacked. They impaled Flubby while he was scavenging. He lived, but his soul didn't. The rhinos got glued clenchingly close to hitting my backline too. Auto doors were installed shortly after. Ship progress stalled because plasteel, so I threw bricks at the defenses instead. Side note, when you have as many dogs as I do, they make a formidable hauling team.
Oh, so many doggos.
At this point, we were close enough to Uber ourselves to the stars that Randy could smell my optimism, so I did what any responsible colony leader would do. I started panic fortifying. Walls, generators, turrets, anything that could stop raiders, or at least hurt their feelings. Naturally, manhunter rhinos showed up to eat my traps. I mostly stopped them before they succeeded. Then, for the first time in a while, the desire sensor malfunctioned. Blast deal. Actual, honest to Randy blast deal. We got raided shortly after, just to keep expectations grounded. But once that was over, things slowed down. Mining, crafting, ship parts going up. It almost felt calm. That feeling was the betrayal. A fox auditioned as a villain of the week. A husky puppy stepped on a mine. Despite the game insisting animals can smell them when calm, I've decided the tooltip was lying to me personally. The next day, a defoliator ship landed. Around the same time, I built the most luxurious prison cell I've ever created. Apparently, happy prisoners convert faster. The more business-savvy chatters kept telling me this for months. It only took almost the entire run for me to listen. An infestation growed out in the fields. Some animals were turned into prospecting meals. Some were assisted by friendly fire. But you're not interested in that. You want to know what happened to the mechs. They were still on standby. I babysat the lawnmower from hell. Because if my maxed out shooters accidentally detonated it, my snipers would become bullet cushions. That didn't happen. Lou joined the colony, which was great. I needed more janitors. I had sworn off assembling human parts in favor of ship parts. If I didn't, I meant to. Anyway, I changed my mind. After that, I discovered a plasteel vein in the corpse sauna, which is a sentence you probably did not expect prior to this story. We repurposed the sauna vent, started mining, and suddenly production actually moved. Sometime after, Lama and Davy got married. Even Lianio and Lou became lovers. Considering Lianio's romantic resume, I'm watching closely. I built a fourth fabrication bench because patience is missing from my character sheet. Lightning killed a baby goat, the ship kept building, and I finally used the persona core and stopped living in fear of accidentally selling it to the bulk goods trader. A transport pod delivered a new builder, an absolute keeper. Refer back to the impatience. Then Husky Puppy number 39 got eaten by a cougar. Not Husky Puppy 39, he was my favorite. Mad rhinos must be a regional thing. The mechs raided next. I stopped bothering telling the huskies to hide. They played the game like a renewable resource, which was tragic, but solved the food problem. Val paid the price for my faith in armor. Val died. Val got eaten by the huskies. The circle of life, the circle of death. Tomato, potato. Crazy broke after that, so I put her in cryosleep to cool off. Side note, watching people crawling for safety is always amusing. Why do they want to live so badly? Are they having fun? Astur and Tatsi had a social fight. Astur, who cannot violence, lost violently. Gallegos got new legs. I had to use the spare parts for something, right? August 14th, 5513. By the time the ship was finally ready, Lightning had personally assaulted half the colony, which felt appropriate. Each engine was designed to point in a way that would make the ship spin, like a Beyblade, like in that anime. You know the one. What was it again? It has Beyblades in it. Then it was time for the holy trinity of late-game coping mechanisms. Defenses, armor, and last-minute optimism. Not long after, the Bat Goblins raided. Despite the Huskies heroically buying me time with their lives, I didn't reach the first defense life fast enough. Then they walked straight into my armory, because I forgot to close some doors. You'd think I knew how to avoid such mistakes by now, but no. We chased them to the edge of the map like angry substitutes on a school field trip. I picked 3 prisoners without check-in. Only one of them was recruitable. Good thing I was still willing to recruit. You'll see why. Next, prisoner Price went berserk. She fell unconscious before making it through the door. Good for her. I was ready to shoot the unwavering problems. We built an autocannon turret, then a uranium slug turret, which later turned out to be an excellent teacher. I encased the batteries, just in case enemies got behind us while the ship was starting. An infestation showed up. I planned to ignore it, but they made themselves my problem.
And Hunk decided he doesn't want to help?
Latch joined the colony. Perfect timing. Every warm body counts now. We gave her a bionic leg to replace the one we misplaced. Then the Huskies got the plague. It's okay, we had more.
Okay, that may as well happen.
September 11. We started the ship's reactor hibernation recovery sequence. 15 days left. Turns out the ship we built ourselves needs the same recovery sequence. Amazing. The game warned us about the incoming difficulty or your money back. It did not lie this time. The Legos raided the same day. The many defenses I prepared included a minefield. Big shout out to Abracadabra for showing up to help, and immediately ignoring my positioning and running straight into the blender. This softened the blow on what really mattered. Me. Side note, if you make it this far, please remember to call your allies for help, because I didn't. As soon as they fled, the mechs arrived. Of course they targeted my fields. I hadn't reinforced that side properly. Most of my defenses were designed to buy me time to react. That equation also included the animals. I still don't understand melee combat, because friendly fire seems to do most of the heavy lifting.
Even in this heap of fertilizer we call home, flowers find a way to sprout. They push through the field and they sprout so beautifully. But this bed of flowers is getting quite wealthy, so what we need is some thorns. That was beautiful.
Miss Rogers crash landed shortly after. We saved her, then ignored her. No idea what became of her. Then 113 Legos raided. At the same time, the butt goblins rained in too. I can't not look after my idiots for 1 second. Thankfully, I'd surrounded the ship with turrets. Otherwise, we'd have lost parts again. While I was distracted, the Huskies opened a shortcut for the raiders, but Raw got drowned in the sea of red. The Legos fled. Then we went to deal with the fanny fornicators, and they fled too. The turrets and the Huskies did most of the work on that side. 11 days left on the timer. In just a few hours, mechs raided. 18 sighters didn't sound too bad. Wrong. They mangled my melee squad. Then Lorenzo got deleted by our own uranium slug turret. I had some concerns, but trusted the AI to know how to aim. Wrong again. Then G-Pro friendly fired Barracuda into the afterlife. My mood entered a maritime disaster. The Huskies ate Barracuda before we could bury him. Free tip, this is a bureaucratic shortcut. I extended the new corpse pile to fit the new visitors. The crew emotionally collapsed, making food production and repairs voluntary. December 1st, the Bastodians raided. Astor opened the door for them like a good host. I tried fighting under the slug turret so they couldn't aim down.
What hit you in the lung? Uranium slug turret.
Then we finally caught a break. A husky stopped Bricana from escaping. We moved the barricade so we'd be safer from our own defenses. Then the mechs raided again.
Multiple angles. Oh no, not sighters. Okay, at least these are various. Now they're sighters, I just accidentally picked the emu as well.
While the sighters calculated, we rushed to fix the door so they'd pad into the traps. It worked. They ate the traps. Also on the short list of successes, nobody got shot by our own turrets. Bricana joined afterward. Then, without missing a beat, we stepped in Legos. They were too good for the front door. I lost track of who took, how much damage and when. Then we had a lovely and energizing day off. The mechs came back, we murdered them.
And if it hits, will they attack immediately? We will never know.
Just kidding. They didn't. Delightfully, we dealt some free damage before the trauma worms attacked. Anketon had his own little mini-arc running in the background. Why does this matter now? Because he ended his arc by going wild mid-battle. We threw him in the slammer and forgot him there. The mech force split into 2 groups. I noticed that when the second group set my fields on fire. The first group went down pretty easy. The second one hurt. They brought weapons specifically designed to burn my backyard. The next 7 hours were spent not functioning. Food ran out. The crew seemed deeply opposed to leaving the planet. Then Raynor sieged us. We murdered them first and they rushed us. The Huskies couldn't hold themselves back and opened doors for the raiders. Otherwise, minimal damage. The struggle against starvation continued. Raynor left supplies behind. The crew still lost their minds while walking to them. Mechs again, and 1/3 of the crew, still on their feet, were outside, mentally gone. G-Bro got snapped back to reality. Rusty got snapped back into reincarnation. The colony was extremely unmotivated to survive. Thanks to Bricana's corpse obsession, I learned dogs can bury colonists. Smart creatures. On occasion. The next day, Raynor rained again. They can't control their stupid drop pods. Turrets turned those who landed inside into Swiss cheese. The rest went for the back door. Of course, there was no breather. Only the next raid. They went out of their way to break this wall for reasons science may one day explain. Bricana died of blood loss in the hospital, because my attention span was wavering and I found it hard to care. 3 days until launch. After that, Darkling did his part for the general mood, and Langridor joined, a nugget of gold in the sea of diarrhea. And the next raid busted in. The doors were still very much broken. Slug turret added to the to-do list. We had no way of easily recruiting back Honkaton, and he clearly didn't want to leave the Rim. His adventure wasn't over yet. We let him go, naked and strong.
Yeah, even if we tried, we are not gonna get another prisoner join us in 1.6 days. Okay, what was that? Oh, you found a trap! You silly goose. That's right, a goose that is silly.
The game claimed that Lou didn't have the melee skill to finish off the Enrich butthole screaming on the ground, but Lou proved the universe wrong and did a splendid job. Webb, G-Bro, and Tatsi went into tantrum mode. Gallegos felt like we hadn't lost enough animals yet. Excellent timing because we got raided too, but I didn't care. We were already back in the cryo baskets. The ship was ready to fire in an hour. Then the mechs raided too. Gallegos ran out and got beaten to death. He almost made it. Personally, I'd have had a plus 200 mood so close to the finish line. G-Bro and Tatsi recovered just in time. I almost left them behind. I lingered briefly, watching the Legos beat the mechs by sheer body mass. What's their secret? The recruitment policy? Free-dental? Do they treat the team like a family at work? Unwilling to give Randy another chance? And out of boredom, I pressed the button, and we faded to white. The list of those who made it rolled. The machine persona took the wheel. Special thanks to everyone who out of poured life just to get us here. After the credits, I watched the Legos burn down their own store. I got sick of listening to the sounds of huskies biting it, and that was it. We won! And that's it for this time, folks. Holy heck, that took a long time. Around 4 months. Now I understand why people just survive a specific time instead of beating the whole game. I'm also looking forward to doing some challenges. My brain is all about them challenges. That's why I consider myself mentally challenged. Do the engagement things if you want to help out. Feedback is always welcome. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Take care now. Bye bye then. Have a wonderful day.